It is July 13th of 2026, and the time is 6:29 p.m. on my computer. But I'm calling this meeting of the Concord Finance Committee to order. And with that, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Suresh Bhatia. Peggy Briggs. Here. Brian Conway.
Here.
Eric Dahlberg.
Ryan, is Eric online?
Eric is not. No,
He's not.
Our two
Thank you.
panelists that are here, Paul and Sri.
Okay, I
Understood.
think, keep an eye if you would. I think you'll be joining us.
John Garofalo.
Here.
Pat Geyer. Here. Gerard Jansen.
Here.
David Carr.
Here.
Don Kupka.
Here.
Lindsay List.
Here.
Niranjana Nagaranjan.
Here.
Thank you. Don Parker.
Here.
Rita Reshadri. Here. Paul Rodriguez.
Here.
Thank you. And Shri Tupel.
Yep.
Great. We have a quorum.
Thank you.
Needed. Thank you.
Well, our first order of business is public comment. Are there any members of the public present in the room who would like to address the committee? We allocate 10 minutes for this, no more than 2 minutes per commenter. You're a committee member.
I'm not also a member of the public.
You are a member of the public. What would you like to say, Don?
These departmental overviews that we're doing are, they dominate our agenda
Yes.
and have for the last couple of meetings and will tonight. They're clearly well-intended and informative, but I don't think they provide me with anything that I need to do the job that I think I'm being asked to do. I have a general sense that spending and population are moving in different directions, and I need a thorough understanding of the drivers of that before I can engage in a discussion of a budget, which I assume is coming up, where we're going to start to get into the budget proposals. So I'm suggesting that it would be at least advantageous for me to have a better balance in our meetings of understanding how the departments work, but engaging in more conversation about the finances and where we are and where we're going and where we've been and what is the direction going into this particular budget.
Thank you, Don. I hear your concern. In or around October, we'll begin discussion of the budget. And these information sessions are designed to give us background information about the uses, all of the activities that the town has and all the uses of the budgeted funds, so that we are better informed when we discuss the funding. But thank you, I appreciate your perspective. Is there anyone online who would like to make a comment?
I don't see any questions, Mr. Chair, but I would note that Eric Dahlberg has joined the meeting.
Thank you. A member of the public contacted me, didn't want to submit correspondence or attend the meeting, but had viewed the previous meeting and had a question for CFO Barrett. If you would further clarify, I believe you commented that there was about $4 million of unspent capital. And the question was, what is the status of those funds, and is that money that will be spent through for the purposes to which it was allocated, or is it money that has not yet been borrowed?
I believe you're referring to the meeting where we discussed the audit. Those
Yes.
funds, if they are in the capital accounts, they are in general borrowed and will be used for their intended purpose if it has been unsatisfied. If the intended purpose has been satisfied and they are surplus, they will be reallocated at town meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. May I?
Yes,
So
John
I
Groffalo.
apologize, I missed last.
Could you move the mic?
I missed last week. So is that, were those funds that were recently discovered in the free cash flow number, and that's why it's
No.
No.
so big? No.
They're items on the balance sheet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So the unspent, you said that all this money has been borrowed?
There's a portion of money, yes, that's been borrowed from prior years. And for example, if a project was estimated to cost $75,000 and it came in under budget at $65,000, there's $10,000 left on the balance sheet that was borrowed in anticipation of need, but because the project came in under budget, is sitting on our balance sheet unspent. We're working on creating a comprehensive list of what's available for reappropriation
Okay.
there's two ways we can do it. We can reappropriate it toward one single larger project, or we can reappropriate it for a similar purpose. But all of that will happen at town meeting if it has been borrowed funds.
Thank you.
Is there any idea of how much total that is? Of the $4 million, is half that unspent or?
That's what is unspent, but that's not to say a project is complete yet.
Okay, thank you.
Rita, did you have a question?
Yeah, I believe I think it was discussed during the audit that there are checks that have not been cashed, right? Do we know how much that is and what we're doing with it?
In the next 2 months, that list of uncashed checks will be made public.
Okay.
It's posted as funds available. We do everything we can to reach out directly to the recipients, and basically we send them a letter and say, there's a check that we issued on such and such a date in such and such amount. If you would like us to reissue that, please contact us. And if we hear back from them, we will reissue it. If we do not, then it gets posted to what's essentially findmymoney.com or whatever, you know what I mean? It's kind of put out there as a general purpose and reabsorbed back into the town's accounts.
Thank you. Okay, I have no further comment, then we move on to agenda item.
Actually, Mr. Chair, Paul Boehm has his hand up.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, 1 minute. Okay, Paul?
Could I just ask everybody to speak very close to the microphone? I've learned those microphones need to be close to your mouth. And we're having trouble hearing if they're more than 6 inches away. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Well noted. Okay, moving on, the departmental overviews. Tonight, we're going to hear from General Government and Human Services. And with that, I turn it over to who would like to take the lead here.
Town Manager Leclerc is going to start us off. Do you want us?
You want to stay on your own, or you want?
Doesn't matter.
Or do you want some of the in your stuff? It's up to you. So that's just the advance.
Okay, thank you and good evening. I am going to start us off talking about the Town Manager's Office, Legal Services, and Town Meeting. We appreciate the invitation from the Chair and the Committee to present on our different operations. I apologize in advance, I'm going to go from my notes because if I don't, it's just going to be too long. So the Town Manager's Office includes 6 full-time equivalent positions, one of which is shared by the Office of Sustainability. As you may notice, there's one FTE that isn't reflected in the budget. That's the Assistant Town Manager. While the ATM serves as part of the town's executive leadership team, the position is budgeted within and directs our human resources and human services operations. And therefore, that position is budgeted in those areas. In addition to the town manager, this office includes a deputy town manager, a communications manager. We have 2 executive assistants and a management specialist. And between the deputy town manager and the management specialist, they cover the Office of Sustainability. So the town manager's office has 5 primary areas of responsibility. First, providing executive leadership and strategic direction to the municipal organization, working with department managers to ensure town services are delivered effectively and aligned with community priorities. Second, we advise and support the Select Board in the implementation of the policies and priorities they establish. Third, we provide executive oversight over the town budget, including budget development, procurement, contracting, and long-range financial planning. While the CFO manages the town's financial operations, the town manager is ultimately responsible for administering the budget authorized by town meeting. Fourth, we oversee municipal operations through our department managers, monitor operational performance, manage organizational risk, and lead strategic initiatives. And finally, we provide a broad range of governance and executive support functions, including legal coordination, legislative affairs, appointments to boards and committees, licensing, constituent services, and other. So here we have our key operational metrics to help you understand the office's responsibility. We provide leadership for 332 full-time equivalents, administering an operating budget of $122.1 million. And I will note on the earlier version of the slide you saw 95.5, the shared services budget was omitted from that number. Shared services, the benefits, expenses, and debt service that the town oversees. So we've updated that. Throughout the year, we support every select board meeting, prepare agenda materials, and coordinate and implement board actions. We oversee procurement, contracting, administer licenses and the appointment processes, coordinate external grant funding, support the town audit, and help to maintain the town's AAA bond rating. I will note we do have the grant tracker on our webpage, and it has been updated now through fiscal 26, and we have $3.6 million worth of grants that were received by the town in fiscal 26. So finally, we've continued expanding public engagement through our newsletter, Concord Currents, social media, the town manager's monthly projects report, and our Civic Concord podcast. You asked that I also provide a run-through of legal services. You heard about this at your last meeting when we made the adjustment. So this is that same slide. I'll just note that our largest expense in legal in fiscal 26 was for general counsel. So that is the day-to-day advice that our legal counsel might be providing to us on departmental operations. The second largest expense was litigation. I believe I mentioned to you our big case in fiscal 26 was the 651 Lowell Road, the case in the dispute with our Historic Districts Commission. You also asked that we just look at our annual town meeting, and this is just a flow chart. I think you are more familiar than most boards and committees about the length of time that we spend preparing for town meeting. I will note that the coordination with the moderator is through the town manager's office. We have an individual on staff that serves as our town meeting coordinator and works very closely with the moderator. Our fiscal 26 accomplishments, I did note that we brought the fiscal 27 operating budget meeting the Finance Committee's guideline despite continued inflationary pressures, strengthened the town's financial management through the successful transition to a new CFO and a new external auditor. We continue to advance long-range planning efforts, expanded public communications and transparency, and supported several significant select board initiatives and strategic projects. So looking ahead, the select board is still finalizing its fiscal 27 goals. So we will engage in a process over the summer to identify departmental goals that are in alignment with the goals that the select board has identified. They have 4 goal categories, which include strategic planning, financial management, effective and transparent government, and resilience and sustainability. And then we've identified some efficiencies. Unlike many of the departments, efficiencies that are generated through the town manager's office are often reflected within other departments because we're providing the strategic planning and organizational leadership We have worked to consolidate enterprise technology where appropriate, strategically deployed shared organizational resources, pursued grant funding to reduce pressure on the local tax levy, and we are implementing performance-based budgeting, which you are aware of through other conversations. And then in closing, oops, I advanced too far. I just wanted to note that our success isn't solely measured by the work performed within the TMO, but obviously by the success of the organization as a whole. I'm very fortunate to work with a team of very dedicated professionals, a number of whom are here this evening, and others whom you will meet through your additional meetings that you have. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I'll go around the committee here and see if there are any questions. Ryan, would you look online, see if Eric or Sri has their hand raised?
They do not.
Okay. I do. Thank you for that overview. That was I learned a lot, actually. And the first thing that struck me, I had no idea that the town's total spending was the number that you said. Was it 122?
122.1.
122.1.
And
So
that's general fund, the shared services, and all of the enterprise funds combined.
yeah, that's very, very helpful, very useful data point. And in the previous iteration of the slide deck, it said 91.5 million, and you said that was?
That is, what was omitted was the approximately $30 million worth of shared services.
Wow.
That just, it wasn't added in there.
So, as I understand it, the shared services, oh, you're referring to shared with the CPS?
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, very good. Now I get it, okay. All right, that's helpful, thank you. If there are no other questions, we'll move on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm the Economic Vitality Manager for the town.
I'm Beth Williams. I'm the Tourism Manager for the town.
Great, thank you.
So the core responsibilities under Economic Vitality, we're sort of a tag team of two divisions within the town manager's office. Economic Vitality focuses specifically on the village centers, Concord Center, West Concord Village, Thoreau Depot, and 9 Acre Corner, to support those businesses and foster commercial growth. And the idea is to advance economic vitality through cultural activity, tourism, and strengthening those small businesses.
And on my side, I'm in charge of servicing visitors from around the world. Concord sees about 1.1 million annual visitors, as reported by the National Park Service. My team and I deliver exemplary customer service, and it is our goal to share Concord stories, attractions, and cultures, provide information, guidance, and a friendly face when you walk into the visitor center, and market the town of Concord to the world, both visitors and local and tourists.
Here's our organization. I'm a division of one.
But you can have some of mine. I have 25 limited status staff, which means they work at the desk at the visitor center, giving tours. I have 2 in a clerk position doing payroll and administrative. I have a social media person part-time, and then 2 of my staff also staff the Northbridge Visitor Center.
So some data points specifically around economic vitality. Looking at the last year, working one-on-one with 28 new businesses, which doesn't necessarily mean that they actually opened, but they were inquiries, getting different assistance here. There were 10 new or expanded businesses that actually did open in Concord, and there were 143 new business licenses through the clerk's office, which doesn't necessarily mean exclusively all businesses, so oftentimes those could be home-based businesses. If somebody's opening up an LLC or a corporation, those aren't necessarily recorded in that number. There were 7 public art installations, everything from the Freedom Silhouette that was in Concord Center here, the decals, the art decals. Then I was working on privately funded benches. There was a set that was for Concord Center and some in West Concord Village. And for my initiatives, there's not a this year is the first time there was some dedicated funding that was from the revolving fund from the visitor center. So any of the funds that I spend is through either ARPA or grant funding. And I received in the last year 2 grants, one for the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail wayfinding project and for the Black Heritage Trail. And to kind of advance economic vitality, I focus a lot on communications, and I have a regular email newsletter that goes out once a month. And in terms of numbers, sort of some of the metrics that I'm looking at for economic vitality is meals tax. So that's for any prepared foods. There's that tax, a portion of that comes to the town of Concord. Room occupancy is for hotels, inns. Business certificates, so those are the ones issued by the clerk's office. Personal property, that is commercial property that's taxed by the town. The building department is now tracking the building permits of commercial versus residential clearly, so we are able to track that quite easily. And then the town manager office licenses, those are things like liquor licenses, common vic licenses, and that's a good metric in terms of number of businesses that are active in the town. In terms of the accomplishments, there were a number of cultural events, some that I was running on my own. There was the Third Thursdays event. Some of those were ones that were through the cultural districts as well. Again, as I mentioned, some of the wayfinding and kind of infrastructure for the districts. I did develop a economic vitality dashboard so that it'll be easier to kind of see these numbers year to year. I've been sort of doing that in a piecemeal way, but that's kind of pulled together more. I did an analysis specifically looking at municipal revenue, because folks have been sort of looking at what kind of money does the town generate from commercial activity. The Age-Friendly Business Toolkit that was funded by the Community Compact from the state. I worked with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council to look at how can we make the business districts more accessible to older customers. Concord has an older population, a lot of older visitors, and sort of looking at how can the businesses better meet the needs of those customers. The bilingual food safety program, that was an outgrowth of the 250th. We provided grants to the small businesses to be able to better serve the visitors from the 250th and supported the farm stands. And then a second part of that was a series of trainings for the business owners. And then I've been expanding the email activity. For this current year, the state has changed how it organizes the cultural districts. Concord has 2 cultural districts, Concord Center and West Concord Village. And we'll need to have those recertified to continue to get $30,000 a year of funding to do programs there each year. And then I've been working closely with the health department and the other divisions of building and planning and water of how we can better streamline. Right now we're focusing especially on the behind the scenes permitting, because we're finding that sometimes the folks themselves aren't quite sure what the dance is. And so we're sort of documenting that and looking at how we can address some of the hiccups of how it communicates to the businesses. And this basically said that in a slightly different way. For the cultural districts, one of the things I've been sort of looking at how to advance some of the capacity building within those 2 existing structures of the town to better leverage other outside funding. So we now have a gift account that's been able to take in some of these small funds, and sort of looking at the Mass Cultural Council is actively encouraging those entities to go for example, Mass Office of Travel and Tourism funding, Safe Streets funding, and once those groups can kind of think of kind of programmatically, I'm hoping that we'll be able to access that more readily.
So for you, I did some metrics I've been collecting since I got here. So from 2020 to 2025, we saw a growth of about 10,000 annual revenue up to about 90,000. And I like to highlight the Patriots of Color as our featured tour. We did, as Mimi noted, we got a secondary grant this year for the Black Heritage, but the first grant we got was for Patriots of Color through the MA 250. And a highlight of that program for me was how many views and how many people engaged with it. It was the top requested tour that we got, requested from private tour groups. Motor coach buses were interested in it. AARP did both a virtual series and then a walking tour of it. And we're continuing to sort of ride that wave. I got two new requests today for the Black Heritage Trail, or Patriots of Color in one way or another. So I highlighted the accomplishments here of growing the revenue, adding some new tours. In 2026, we added ASL, so I have an ASL consultant now on my staff that we can use if we get a request for that. And we also now have paper foreign language tours, and I have 4 staff that speak a second language. So we're able to do French, German, Russian, and Hebrew. And hoping to add Spanish. So if anybody speaks Spanish and is looking for a tour guide, I'm looking for one. Our added Patriots of Color tour with the Mott Grant, and that's supported with the creation of a film, a podcast, and supporting materials. A lot of that has come through the educational lens. So the Robbins House is hosting all of the educational materials. So teachers can now download as little as a 10-minute section to use as an instruction, or the whole film. And then we added some new community business partnerships. So Colette Tours, many of you may know, is an international tour company. They are traveling with the America 250 tour, and we have 40 dates booked with them. So it was a revenue boost of over $25,000. It was 2 years in the making, and they are here for 4.5 hours every Tuesday. They go to the Robbins House, they go to the Wright Tavern, they have a fife and drum or musket demonstration of some nature by a surprise guest from the Concord Minutemen, and it's just been a really nice partnership, and everybody is benefiting financially. So the Robbins House, my division, and the Wright Tavern are all benefiting financially. And lastly, I hired 5 new staff this year to replace retiring and relocating staff and to address growth needs. My plan for FY27, waiting to see the select board goals, but right now I continue to plan to develop new tours that expand on our many histories in Concord. I have a new staff that is an outdoors ranger, and he works for the Nat Trails Committee, so he's going to be launching some new tours that take people along some of the amazing trails in Concord. And to promote our new on-the-road options. We currently have a program called Between Us Sisters, which was written by 2 of my staff, between Louisa May Alcott and May. It's based on their primary research material for their letters that they wrote to each other while May was in Paris. And this winter, we launched History Without Frostbite. We tried it a couple of times, and we partnered with the Wright Tavern to do a historical conversation, lecture, presentation, without having to do a walking tour in the cold. And lastly, to continue to support arts and culture events to showcase our vibrant community. Efficiencies for our visitor center. This year we launched an online store based off of our website. So it was a free program. I know, hard, but it's a project called WooCommerce. It allows us to take in orders, process them in-house, and ship them out. And this year it was about 10% of our revenue. Really aided by the 250. People were buying coins, t-shirts, books, you name it. So that was a pretty exciting thing for us to do. And we hired additional new Concord-based merchandisers. So we have pewter made in Concord, we have tea towels made in Concord. Almost everything is made in the US, if not locally, even more in Massachusetts. And lastly, some financial savings. We brought our graphic design in-house. So I'm utilizing more of my staff hours and relying less on an external consultant. And part of that allowed us to reallocate $10,000 of the general fund from one of my line items to be in the economic vitality line. And we're happy to take questions.
Thank you. Yeah. Any committee members have questions? Yes, Lindsay.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Please.
One is really, so I'll ask my first question is really small. The 2 employees that you said who work at the national park, are they funded by the federal government? Is there time?
So they are funded by us as part of an agreement that the town manager's office here signed for a 3-year agreement. This is our last of 3 years. Because the national park was so short on resources, they were not going to be able to open the Northbridge Visitor Center 7 days a week. So that is how that came about. So they are paid out of our budget.
Okay.
Yes, they're paid out of the revolving fund.
Got it.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
great. And then my second question is for both of you, and it's a little more in depth. So it feels like there's so many different ways you guys could be spending your time. There's a lot that you do. So can you tell us, and it doesn't seem like you could just do a straight like return on investment for everything you're doing, right? Like accessibility, like wheelchair accessibility for putting a bench in a public space. It's not like directly tied to revenue, but it probably does help, right? And all these things together help. So can you talk a little bit about how you prioritize your time and how you decide what is important to be working on, and a little bit more about that, kind of how that really works?
So for me, I'm basing my kind of strategic plan based on Envision Concord, which kind of broke it out into a couple different categories. So there's specifically around small business support, so things that I often talk about like moving the needle. Will it make it easier for businesses to open, be more cost effective for them to open? So I try to prioritize that. I have a little bit of a bullseye of like, is it in the business districts or is it like a little further afield? So for example, the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail wayfinding, that was pretty low on my list of priorities. So sometimes it was an opportunistic thing of there was funding available already assigned for it. It's part of like this overall strategy to try to draw more people to West Concord Center. So my main thing is like, does it hit my bullseyes, and does it fit into a couple of the categories? So I realize I'm a little not answering this quite so clearly, but one is specifically on the business district, supporting the small businesses. The other one is about policies, so things that support those, and that's work closely with the Economic Vitality Committee on that. So for example, we were looked at parking restrictions that make it easier to keep active uses on the ground level. There was the food truck ordinance. I've been working with the town manager's office around permitting for special events, because then the town doesn't have to run all the events if other people are doing events that help draw people to our business districts. How can we do that? I've worked with several different committees, the Economic Vitality Committee and the 2 cultural districts. Supporting those in terms of, so the 2 cultural districts, in case folks aren't familiar with that, it's a program through the Massachusetts Cultural Council to advance economic vitality in commercial centers through the arts. And so those 2 groups are doing things like the public art. And that's a really great program because it really brings in funds to the town we otherwise wouldn't have, and leverages one of our primary industries here, which is the arts. 1 out of 3 workers in Concord are in the arts sector. So I've been sort of focusing especially of like, what are the industries that could make a bigger impact? And then I'm sort of looking at how to amplify that, the work that I'm doing through promotion, through communication, whether that's to businesses or to potential customers.
I will try to answer that as well. I also take a lot of my lead from Envision Concord and also the select board goals. Both of those highly noted inclusive programming and expanding what we offer to the larger community. So when I arrived, we had very few different tours that really highlighted the different parts of our community. So we have since added Black Heritage, Indigenous, Women of Concord, and I track those by how many sell. Obviously, I can track financials a lot easier because we're revenue based. So I can track that in and out of the revolving account, what it costs to run those programs, as well as what we're bringing in. The second sort of big thing for me is the slow growth of tourism, because Concord is very protective, as everybody knows, and we don't want to overwhelm the town. So I focus really clearly, like the Colette Tours as an example, that was 2 years in the making, and it benefits 4 local organizations. So it was very thoughtful. They come on a Tuesday, which a lot of businesses have reported is a low income day for them. So when I go to schedule those tours, I think about all of those things and how we can make sure the benefit is much higher than any lien on any part of the community when I look at that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was wonderful to hear. Yeah. Thank you. Any other members here? Yeah, Brian.
The 1/3 people in Concord working in the arts, is that census data?
So it was a study by, there's a whole presentation on the town website that's looking at our arts and culture sector, so
I think it was 1 in 4. I think it was 1 in 4 that they presented. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I should not
No, it's okay.
rely on my memory.
I just saw it.
So it was a study, I believe that one was from, are you looking at the study?
No, I'm not looking at it right now.
It might have been National for the Arts. I can get you the actual study.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just curious. That number struck me, and I think some
Me
other
too.
people as high. And I'd be curious what the census status says, because occupation is.
It was 1 in 4 working in the creative economy.
Creative.
So I think it's a little broader than just the arts, but yes.
So it does, and when it looks at the creative economy, it's things like architects. Concord has a
Yes.
huge sector of architects. If you, upholsterers, interpreters, writers, poets, folks that are working at the visitor center. Like, it's a pretty broad expanse.
Broad.
It's very
Okay.
broad.
Thank you for that. And then, do you, is it released, and I apologize if it is, I don't know the data, but do we have retail and commercial vacancy rates for all the various centers?
So I've been keeping track of our vacancies once a month. We have very, very low vacancy, in terms of our village centers at ground level. It's the envy of lots of other communities if you walk around. We do have a high vacancy around office spaces though, which is kind of post-COVID. Everybody's dealing with that. Some other communities are being pretty aggressive in terms of looking at alternative uses. So you probably see folks that are setting up, we're going to do a trampoline gym, we're going to convert to some other uses. Concord doesn't, at least from my looking at the zoning, isn't prohibiting some of those uses. It seems like some of our commercial property owners have kind of more patient capital. But so if you look over at Baker Ave, there's a lot of big vacancies.
And then, last question, for the tourism sort of subsector in revenue, your revenue base, is it running at a deficit or positive revenue?
So the revolving fund right now is running at a positive. It has been for a couple of years.
Is that solely the tourism sector of it?
That's just the revolving account that I oversee. So
Okay.
that pays for the tour guides and the marketing of the tours and brings in the revenue from the tours as well as the merchandising.
That's great, thank you.
Don Parker?
To follow up on that, so the expense of the tourism department, the revenue was 90,000. It seems odd to me that the expense, just looking at the org charts and that, is lower than that. But you're telling me we're spending less than 90,000?
No, so we have two funds that operate the tourism division. There's general fund, which runs the building, my salary, and our desk staff, and then we have a revolving account. So the revolving is what is continuing to run positive because we are making more by promoting the tours and bringing in merchandise. The general fund stays pretty even at the amount we have.
Can you tell me how much we're spending to get that 90,000 in tourist revenue, all in?
Not off the top of my head without looking.
Much more than 90,000?
Yeah.
Okay. And on the commercial chart that you showed, there was a large jump, it looked like, and I have it in front of me, between 2021 and 22, and then it kind of flattened out and went down. Can you give me a little bit about what's going on there across time?
Which one are you looking?
So I'm looking at the data points and metrics, economic vitality. 2021, for example, on the meals tax was 267,000. In 22, it went to 429, then to 470. Yep.
COVID.
And it's been flat or declining ever since.
So we've had a couple restaurant turnovers. Dario's has finally opened over at the Road Depot. So that probably is going to be, they closed just before I started, so that was probably around.
Yep.
Yeah, the paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
We lost hotel rooms too with the Best Western going offline.
Right. Okay. What do we expect going forward on this line item? Will it continue to run flat or declining, or is it turning up, do you think?
Well, we've got now several restaurants over by where the paparazzis used to be that are now operating.
Okay.
We've got the Dunkin' Donuts, the Starbucks, and
Chipotle.
Chipotle and Chipotle's there. The hotel's actually not doing great, but staying pretty steady. Dario's is just about to open. Vandeleuros is doing well. So in terms of meals tax, I anticipate that's going to be doing pretty well.
You expect it to go up, is what I'm sensing.
Go up, but it's not going to be a huge number. Excuse me.
Brian?
Keep it quick. Just wanted to clarify for the committee, the 90K is directly attributable to you selling it. It doesn't include all of, like, they come here for a tour, then they eat and they shop.
No,
and
it's just
Right, yeah.
revenue.
Just wanted to clarify.
Thank
That
you.
would be nice to know.
Yep.
What the economic
We
value
do- I
generated
mean,
is.
Yeah,
me,
we
yeah.
can get some ancillary data.
We're going to move on. I saw a hand over here. Yeah, Rita.
I have two quick questions. One is, does the Concord Museum play a part in your tourism effort or partnering with them?
So the Concord Museum is a partner with us. We have what's called the Patriot Pass. So people can get a discount both on a tour, a daily tour through me, and admission through the Concord Museum.
So there is a partnership.
There is.
Thank you.
And the next question is perhaps for you. Is there any kind of a marketing effort to bring in more commercial business into our town? Given what I've heard in my last meeting or the meeting before, that we tax commercial at the same rate as residential, which is kind of unusual. So that should be a huge selling point to business owners of all color, and I'm not talking about just restaurants, of all color. Should be quite attractive. Is there some kind of a program to let people know about it?
So I focus specifically on the ground level retail spaces, and those are relatively small. So I do get actively involved, like for example, over at Concord Market, where the Citizens Banquet.
Right.
When folks have been interested, I've been working with a number of businesses who are looking at the old Phillips Paint in West Concord. But I haven't been doing like an active sales part of that, because oftentimes that's business brokers and the commercial real estate brokers. So I don't want to overstep that. I'm more kind of focusing on like promoting Concord as a whole, and then making it easier for when the businesses actually come here.
Is it possible to put on your website just a line item, so that if a small business is like a gift shop is looking for ways to sell their products, that they would at least see that that's highlighted, it's just a line item on the website.
So I did work with the town's communications manager, so now there's a big button on the front page of the website for businesses. I've built out a whole section of the website that makes it easier for them to figure out how to navigate, lots of information about the business districts, how they're different. So I've really built out a lot of resources on the site now.
Thank you.
Thank you. No? Ryan, do you know if we have any hands raised? Eric?
I don't see any.
Okay, then I'll ask a couple of quick questions. Maybe 28 new business owners assisted, 10 new or expanded businesses. So that's 18 plus new businesses that chose not to locate here. Do we follow up with them?
Not necessarily, because some of the businesses might not necessarily be brick and mortar businesses, and that doesn't account for, once a year, I do an inventory town-wide of businesses that doesn't count home-based ones, just ones that are in commercial districts.
Okay.
So that is an analysis just of that business inventory. So some of those, that 10 might not have needed my help at all. The 28 are just people I sat down one-on-one with to assist.
Well, I'm wondering, are there lessons we could learn by doing a postmortem once they've decided against Concord, understanding why? That's one question. You don't have to answer that. It's just really a thought. On the data points and metrics, economic vitality, I didn't see the commercial property tax. And to me, that's the big one that moves the needle. For example, the building permit, by law, we can't charge more in building permit fees than the cost of providing that service. So that doesn't move the needle for the town, but presumably those permit fees will result in additional property taxes, which is helpful. So it would be helpful, I think, for us to know that you're focusing on bringing in commercial property revenue. And the big question I should know but don't is, when a space is vacant, is there a reduction in their property tax? No. Peggy says yes, Mimi says no.
Because it's based on the assessed value of the property. So
For commercial property, which
Can you, can you grab a microphone, please?
No, he can say that. I believe that the assessment for commercial property is a multiple of the revenue. It's revenue based, so if the
Right.
place is empty,
Right.
you know, or.
That's my understanding as well, but I could be wrong. No, David?
I don't know, it's been a while since I've been on the assessors, but my recollection was that there's an assumption that the existing revenues are kind of prorated across the vacant spaces. There's an assumption you should be making this much money out of the vacant space if you're making this much money out of the occupied space.
Okay.
And we tax accordingly. But on the other hand, if we have consistently lower revenues, that's going to drag everything down.
Okay, so there is some more complex formula, but I'm sorry, Jennifer,
I
yes.
completely defer to Dave.
It's possible that I'm completely wrong. As I said, it's been a while since I've been on the board, but that was my recollection.
Property taxes are based on the value of the property. Whether a space is vacant or not is up to the owner to recover those funds in order to pay the taxes. So the property taxes don't change whether it's vacant or whether it's filled. But the rental rates are what is impacted by this vacancy factor of a larger building. So if a building is only half full, thinking a large building, the rates for those that do occupy it are likely to be higher because they're compensating for those vacant spaces. But the town is not going to receive less money because the building is vacant.
Okay. Thank you.
They can appeal, but it's not. They do, but it's
Yeah,
not
they do,
necessarily a
All right, well, that's a
driving
metric I
factor.
think is interesting for me, anyway. Mimi, another question for you is about supporting, under permitting efficiencies, you said supporting clear workflows for businesses, permitting through planning, building, health, and water. I think that's a great field for improvement. And I'm curious to know how you've managed to improve that process and whether or not there's still room to go.
It's a work in progress.
Okay.
There's now a monthly meeting of all the different permitting team where we go through all the active permits and sort of uncover where there's, what's the status of the different ones. Oftentimes, my work is helping the businesses to help navigate that, and sometimes I'm like the translator, where I sort of one part cheerleader of like, you can get through this, and a little part of like, the reason why they're asking you that is not because they're being unreasonable, it's because this other state regulation or whatever, or helping to translate from the business perspective for the enforcement side of things. So there's one of just the team getting together. I'm working with the health division to actually document. We're focusing. I tried sort of doing it globally, and it just got to be a crazy spreadsheet. So we're focusing right now just on food businesses and really looking at step by step to document those and getting everybody on board. To give you like a small little example of an efficiency, one is there needs to be a backflow regulator for a lot of folks know what a backflow. It was news to me. So, for example, if you've got a dishwasher, you with the downflow, you want to make sure it doesn't go back into the water supply. That one piece of equipment gets inspected by 3 different inspectors, and so I've been sort of looking at like, well, how could we? You just inspect it once. It makes it easier because the businesses are like, I thought you just inspected it literally yesterday. So some of those things I've been sort of looking at. How can we create some efficiencies? Because each of the individual departments, they're like, I have to follow my set of regulations, and plumbing has theirs, and water has theirs, and the health department has theirs.
Yep.
So I've been looking at those.
Okay. And lastly, I believe you were also played a role in the zoning ordinance change and parking shared so that a business that operates in the morning and another one that operates at night can count the same space. And that should have some knock-on effect of improving our ability to attract small businesses.
So that one was actually through, primarily through the planning department, because that's often when it's new construction. I end up getting more involved when it's an existing building that's turning over. So the one that I was more actively involved was if you're not changing the square footage of the existing building, you're just changing the use to kind of grandfather in whatever spaces. So for example, part of why Phillips Paint has been sitting empty for a long time is, I think there's 2 parking spaces connected to it, and it's been a long time retail space. If you were to change the use, you would suddenly have to find new parking spaces. They'd have to get a variance. It becomes a kind of complicated thing. And especially with a lot of these long-time office spaces that folks are ideally wanting, we want them to be more active uses that are have a higher threshold of customers coming in, because that actually has a ripple-on effect to all the other businesses. So if you've got a sleepy little office that's, you know, a professional office that maybe only has 2 people coming in your door, that doesn't, it's very different than if you have a bustling restaurant or, you know, a service business that's having, you know, 50 customers an hour, that those 50 people, chances are they're going to get a cup of coffee, they're going to drop off their dry cleaning. That helps all the other ones.
Thank you very much. I think we need to move on. But that was very helpful. Thank you.
I just want to make a point of note. It's 7:15 and we
Yep.
have 5 minutes per presentation, so we are significantly
Behind.
schedule.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I'm not saying don't ask questions, but
Yep.
we have a lot of people to get through.
Thank you. I
So just
appreciate
wanted to
that.
make you aware that it is already 7:15 and we started just after 6:30. And we've
Okay.
had 2 groups so far.
Okay. Thank you. Noted.
No pressure, to be
No
sure.
pressure.
Okay, good evening. My name is Megan Zamudo, and I'm the Deputy Town Manager. I'm excited to speak with you this evening about some of the work we're doing related to sustainability in Concord and beyond. So following last year's staffing realignment, sustainability responsibilities have been absorbed within the Town Manager's office. It's been about 1 year, and we have furthered key initiatives by leveraging existing staff and strong interdepartmental partnerships. So myself and management specialist Shannon McAndrew coordinate the town sustainability program, working closely with departments, committees, consultants, and community partners to advance sustainability initiatives. So the success we've seen over the past year really reflects the work of many departments and partners working toward shared sustainability goals. So for example, the implementation of the Stormwater Utility Enterprise Fund this year was a major milestone that grew out of the 2020 Climate Action and Resilience Plan. It involves collaboration across multiple departments. Similarly, the Concord Municipal Light Plant's implementation of time of day rate advances other key climate action plan recommendations. So we're taking a little credit for that, although the work has been done, you know, of course, across the organization. Our facilities team is a partner with us as we strive towards municipal decarbonization. Natural resources staff are advancing resilience initiatives to help prepare the community for climate impacts. Of course, the library is an incredible partner as a certified sustainable library designation has made it a statewide leader. These are just a few examples. There are so many departments across the organization. We really say sustainability is everyone's job. It's not just one person's job, and it's really built into the projects that we bring forward. So I'd like to just highlight 2 major initiatives that illustrate how we're advancing sustainability at both the local and the regional level. So on your left, there's a couple bullet points here. This is our Climate Action and Resilience Plan, or we call it CARP. This is our roadmap for the town. This planning effort was funded by the FY26 capital budget, and so last summer we were working to work on the scope with the Climate Action Committee and procure a vendor. We work with Weston and Sampson on this effort, and we've had a number of community meetings, and we are on track to complete the Climate Action and Resilience Plan at the end of this calendar year. On the right here, we have the Suasco Climate Collaborative. This is a state grant that we received for $450,000. It's a 2-year grant. The town of Concord is the lead agent on that, and we're working with ORS and MAPC to help us implement climate resilience alongside neighboring communities. And so we've had a couple community meetings, and we really talk about resilience in the watershed and how it doesn't end at the end of our town, right? Like we have to look at things a little bit zoomed out, and the state's really providing resources to assist communities that are working together and then work together for grants to, you know, kind of fix culverts along the watershed and improve our resilience here in Concord. So these two efforts complement one another. The CARP really establishes Concord's priorities, while the Suasco Climate Collaborative helps us secure funding, share expertise, and implement many of those priorities on a regional scale. So in FY26, we were awarded $100,000 for another MVP grant. This is a 2.0 for climate resilience planning. We are kicking off that. We just started that effort this month, and you'll be seeing more of us in the fall. We're kind of organizing the summer, getting the team together, and we'll have some outreach efforts coming up in the next couple months. I mentioned the Suasco Climate Collaborative. We also just completed our decarbonization roadmap. This is a final requirement for climate leader community designation through the state, which we applied for, and hope we are designated that title, which will make us more competitive for grants for decarbonization. And I mentioned the Climate Action and Resilience Plan update. For FY27, we're going to have the first half of finishing the update and then really begin implementation, hoping to obtain the Climate Leader Community designation. And we're working on advanced building decarbonization as a service with Concord Public Schools. So this is a program I met with the school committee and the regional school committee last month to discuss, and we've been working with the superintendent and assistant superintendent to partner on how we can work towards decarbonization. But when I talk about this, and what I said to them last month is, we really are looking at sustainability as a triangle, right? It has to work for the earth, it has to work for the people, but it also has to work for the finances. And if you don't have all three, then that is not really considered sustainable. So the decarbonization roadmap is one kind of leg of that, but it did not have all the other elements. So just rest assured that we're looking at everything as a package here. So here are some efficiencies. I mean, we do a lot of reporting in this line of work over here. We do green communities is a designation that the town has, and it requires us to update all of our emissions every year, and we can learn a lot about where we are and where we should focus our attention. We've reduced our municipal building energy use since our FY11 baseline. We've reduced our building our municipal vehicle energy usage since our baseline, and as I mentioned, the decarbonization roadmap is we're striving to continue to reduce emissions. And I think that's it for this one. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? I don't see any hands raised here. Any, Eric or Sri?
No.
No. Okay. Megan, thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, this is a short one, but I'm also excited to talk a little bit about ceremonies and celebrations. As you know, after the 250th, we take celebrations very seriously here in Concord, and you're likely familiar with the incredible work that the Public Ceremonies and Celebrations Committee does every year, but you might not know about some of the other work that's done by staff behind the scenes to support Concord celebrations. So this budget line item was listed. That's why I got to come speak with you here. And it really mostly funds a lot of the celebrations that you're likely familiar with. Veterans Day, Honored Citizen Ceremony, Miriam's Corner, Dawn Salute, Patriots Day, and Memorial Day. So those are the efforts that are organized by our incredible PCCC. But the fund, that line item also contributes to other town favorite celebrations like Ag Day, holiday tree lighting, and of course Pride. So all of those events and any event you've really seen in town that is somewhere near public property also goes through our use of town property permit process. And so in FY26, we permitted 57 events. And 29 of them were community events. We had 16 fundraising events like bike rides that you might see through town, and a number of other different types of events. So we have staff from a number of different departments that meet every other week, and we are looking to make sure that these events have the right insurance, that we're treating town property respectfully. We're going to make sure trash is picked up, that there's a health permit, that there's a detail, that there's a traffic plan, that there's a parking plan. So people are applying for these permits and, thinking of this 5K, and we bring kind of folks from across the organization together to, think about what questions weren't asked and how can we make sure this is a safe event that's really adding to the vitality of the community. So we were doing some analysis on this summer, and 81% of the events are really recurring. So there's some room to make these more efficient. I will say we've come far. When I first started, we had a paper form that had to be signed off on by all the different departments, and now we have a fillable form online that has an online dashboard that can be shared with our internal team. So we've made some strides, but there's still room for improvement to make our reviews faster, to learn from things that happened in previous years, and just try to make sure we're covering all of our bases in the most efficient way. You're probably not surprised that April and June are peak months. We have so many events during that time. And I think that's all I have on this one. Oh, and really why it matters. So this little section didn't quite meet the same format. And so I just, like my colleagues before me, I wanted to mention that Envision Concord 2030 has a goal to create and encourage special events and festivals to make Concord a more spontaneous, inviting visitor destination. And I wouldn't say, these parades are spontaneous. We really plan them way in advance. But this permit process is, really not tied necessarily to a line item. It's done throughout the whole department of a cross-departmental team. And this process is the operational infrastructure, making this vision possible today. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Are you also presenting technology and media services?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Megan. Thank you very much. All the hats that you wear.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Weiner. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the town. Tonight I'd like to introduce you to Technology and Media Services. While many people think of us simply as the IT department, we're actually responsible for 3 distinct but closely connected divisions that support nearly every aspect of town operations. After a brief overview, you'll hear directly from each of our managers, who will talk in more detail about their teams, the work they're doing today, and where they're headed in the coming year. So, Technology and Media Services consists of 3 divisions. Information Technology provides the technology that keeps the town operations running every day. Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, helps departments make better decisions through mapping, spatial analysis, and data. And Minuteman Media Network connects residents with local government by broadcasting meetings, producing programming, and supporting community engagement. Although these are different disciplines, they all have the same goal, using technology to improve how the town serves both employees and residents. For information technology, our IT division does a lot more than just fix computers. That's what people usually think of when they hear IT support. The team manages the town's infrastructure, supports employees every day, protects our systems from cyber threats, and helps departments adopt technology that make their work more efficient. Technology has become a core utility for local government, and our role is to make sure it's reliable, secure, and ready to support whatever our departments need next. The GIS department is one of those departments that's incredibly valuable, even though you don't always see it. Their work supports planning, public safety, public works, conservation, pretty much many departments through mapping, mobile applications, and data analysis. They transform information into something people can actually visualize and use to make better decisions in day-to-day work. The Minuteman Media Network plays an important role in transparency and community engagement. They produce and broadcast town meetings, create original programming, support local organizations, make it easier for residents to stay informed about what's happening, not just in Concord, but in Carlisle as well. They support both towns. They're really the public-facing communications arm of the department. This is our management structure. Together, we're a team of just under 12 full-time employees, along with 2 part-time staff members. During my first year with the town, my focus was really on listening, learning the organization, building relationships, and establishing a solid foundation for the department. As I begin my second year, that focus is going to shift toward building organizational capacity, continuing to develop the staff, improving consistency, documenting processes, and strengthening how we deliver technology services across the town. Just to put some of the work into perspective, the IT team supports approximately 400 users across every town department, closes about 150 support requests each month. Actually, last month was closer to 250. One of our major initiatives this year has been bringing more day-to-day support back in-house, allowing us to provide more responsive service while continuing to leverage outside support partners for specialized expertise instead of the day-to-day work. Minuteman Media Network produces roughly 80 pieces of media every month, while GIS supports dozens of maps, dashboards, and field applications used throughout the organization. At the same time, cybersecurity awareness and preparedness continue to be a major priority across all of our operations. Looking ahead, our priorities are really centered around helping the town work smarter. We'll continue modernizing technology where it makes sense, strengthening our cybersecurity posture, improving the experience for both employees and residents, expanding the use of GIS and media services, and making technology easier to use across the organization. Ultimately, our goal isn't to just maintain technology, it's to be a strategic partner to every department and help them deliver better services to the community. With that overview, I'd like to turn things over to our IT operations manager. We'll take a deeper dive into our information technology division, followed by our GIS program manager, and finally you'll hear from our media manager. We'll talk to you about the workings of the Minuteman Media Network.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ramu Bolapragera. I'm the IT operations manager for the town. I'm just an extension of what Jeff shared with you, and we work as a cohesive team and run the operations. So I'll just do a little more deeper dive so that you know what happens in the IT world on a daily basis. And we are not like a IT geek sitting in some closet somewhere and hiding. So we are people's person. So you can see the first slide. It says Concord, keeping Concord connected, secure, and future ready. That's our main objective. So IT operations, the core responsibilities fall under 5 pillars to achieve operational excellence. One is service delivery, security, support business applications that all the Concord users use, and we are embarking on a new initiative this year towards self-empowerment of the users. To give you more details as the slides go on, and then the projects. So what is our mission on service delivery? Deliver reliable technology services that enable town operations. And on the security side, to safeguard town's infrastructure and customer data by deploying proactive security measures, cultivating a culture of risk awareness, and ensuring uninterrupted compliant business operations in a ever-changing threat landscape. Supporting business applications to maximize system uptime, ensure data integrity, and empower employees to use enterprise software effectively. And like I said, this is a new initiative enabling users to become more capable, confident, and independent through technology. And the projects that we plan to work this year is to bridge the gap between the technical teams and business goals by leveraging technology to solve specific organizational problems, enhance operational efficiency, and drive sustainable growth. So this is my team. I work under the leadership of Jeff, and we have 3 people. Between 4 of us, we manage about 400 users on a daily basis. So service delivery, a little more deeper dive into it. So now, as you know, technology is no longer a support function. It is a critical enabler for every municipal service. If I were to ask you a question, can you live without email for one day? The answer definitely would be no. So then that dictates what technology does. So the responsibilities of service delivery is service desk and end user support, where we get tickets and requests and issues reported to us on a daily basis, that we handle them in a timely manner. Our goal is to resolve the issues as soon as possible. So we make the first contact with the user and we understand, and then we address their issues. So all about incident management, problem management, they all fall under service delivery. What is the executive value for you? It is high employee productivity. So we want to keep the employees productive because they are technology users, and for us they are business users, and reduce downtime and improve customer satisfaction. The note is, if everything is working perfectly, you probably would not hear from us, and that's exactly how we would like to keep it. Security. This probably is the biggest buzzword that goes on in the industry. And this is very important for us, because if you cannot see, you cannot manage and measure, right? So we want to make sure we see every point, every integrated point in the network, what is happening, what traffic is coming in, what is going out, so we can measure, manage, and then analyze the traffic, and then take care of, fixing the issues. All other things like endpoint is the computers that you use on a daily basis. We want to make sure those are secured. And your identity access management of the users, those who use town resources, you have an identity management. We want to make sure you're secure, that you're able to log in, and your sign-in is secure.
Excuse me, Ramu. For the sake of time, can we condense some of the presentation? Thanks.
Absolutely. So I'm going to jump the gun and say that what is our goal? To keep the hackers unemployed.
Right.
At least we try that. Supporting business applications, we have 40 plus business applications that we support, and the note is supporting 40 plus application means we are experts at finding passwords nobody remembers. So at least we can help you with that one. Right. And this is a new initiative. What is it? Giving the users the tools necessary so that they can be autonomous, right? So some of the things we are going to do is self-printer installations, self-approved software installation, so you don't need to come to us for that. We just provide you the platform, you can install on your own. And then some of the projects we're working on is enhancing the phone system of the town to a cloud-based secured phone system from a traditional analog system. And we have already deployed a uniform signature across the entire town, so that, when people interact with the town, they know who they are. And we are launching, probably the next week, we are launching a new help desk system, internal help desk system, away from the MSP, the multi-service provider that we currently use. So once you deploy that, your phone, your office phone can work from anywhere, right, for that matter. Of course, other things are, we want to lower costs. Obviously, cost is a major thing. So we want to make sure we reduce costs in where we use the technology. This is, yeah. And lastly, the other areas of operations we do is monitoring, like I said, from a security point of view, as well as from a capacity and performance point of view. We have bullet points to manage the infrastructure across the town in all areas. So by operations, me being here for the last 7 months, I see 99% of 9% availability of all the resources, 40 plus applications, 24/7 monitoring, and 600 plus users, including some external users who are part of our town tenant as guests. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. Do you want to have a question that's relevant for Ramu? Then please. We have a
Can
question.
I just ask you a quick question?
Yes.
So you talked about in your IT operations mission, the last one you mentioned was to bridge the gap between technical teams and business goals by leveraging technology to solve specific organizational problems. So I think that's great, because I feel like your knowledge could really probably help a lot of the operators become more efficient. They might not know what tools are available or how to use technology to solve certain problems. So what are you actively doing to kind of to accomplish that?
Great question.
Piece?
Thank you for asking me that. Me and Jeff, in the near future, are actually going to visit all the town buildings, meet all the department managers, sit with them for half an hour or 1 hour, ask them what are their needs, and then translate them into technology solutions. That's what we are planning to do the next year.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. I think making that kind of regular or quarterly or something, I think there could be so much value there. So
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. GIS.
Evening.
Evening.
I'd be happy to skip my presentation.
We've cleared the rest of the evening, actually. So
My name is Heather Baumick. I'm the GIS program manager. I've been officially the manager since February, so I'm relatively new to the position. But I've been with the town for just over 3 years now.
okay.
GIS team is a support division for the town. We support dozens of departments and hundreds of internal and public users through mapping, data management, spatial analysis, and interactive web applications. We provide technical support and occasional GIS training to a number of users in other departments. We're also responsible for managing the town's enterprise GIS program, and the chart on the screen is kind of a depiction of an ecosystem of tools that include desktop software, a data server that hosts our authoritative data sets, and an online software as a service platform which provides several web-based tools we can use to provide access to data, perform analysis, and improve operational workflows. I have a mission that's really, really long, but I'll shorten that. It's to basically improve municipal operations and support the town's strategic goals through innovative solutions, reliable data, cross-departmental collaboration, and exceptional customer service. For those of you who are unfamiliar with GIS, it can kind of be boiled down to technology that connects information to locations. GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems, sometimes substituted the S for science. It often involves combining a map with a database. And so instead of just looking at spreadsheets, it allows us to visualize information geographically, uncover patterns, and communicate in a more intuitive way. We collect and maintain authoritative data, transform that information into meaningful maps, and build interactive applications that allow staff and the public to easily access and use that information. Often each of these components feeds into the others, creating an ecosystem that continually improves over time. So there's a few major themes that typically crop up when you're applying GIS in a municipal setting. Those are spatial analysis, infrastructure and asset management, and the last one that I'll hit upon in a few slides is event planning and tourism, as well as emergency preparedness. So for spatial analysis, unlike traditional databases, GIS can answer questions based on location by layering different types of information together. So we've used this in the town's we analyzed land use and development opportunities in coordination with the MBTA Communities Zoning Initiative, which was a state-mandated initiative. We mapped impervious surfaces to help implement the stormwater utility fee this year, and we used those calculations to come up with what rates users should pay. We also have used something called network analysis, which is technology that helps optimize routes, such as snowplow routes, trash collection, stuff like that. Infrastructure and asset management. Many town departments rely on GIS out in the field, and so we've been expanding our mobile GIS applications so that public works personnel can inspect and clean catch basins. They can inventory natural resources. They can verify addresses, collect information in the field, and they can even collect photos related to those points. And because notoriously Concord has poor cell service, it even is functioning, or it's configured to function offline. The crews will go out with a GPS-enabled device, such as a tablet or a smartphone, and they'll collect the data that they need, and once they come back into the office in a Wi-Fi-enabled capacity, that information will automatically sync, and that goes into that enterprise system that I was talking about earlier, so that feeds dashboards that supervisors can monitor progress through real time, and it helps them make informed operational decisions. So for event planning and tourism, we were heavily involved in the Concord 250th planning for about 1.5 to 2 years. We did everything from printing maps and making maps that would be put into public brochures to creating an interactive web application that was public-facing. That showcased event locations, road closures, parking areas, and detours. And the week leading up to Patriots Day in 2025, that application received 32,000 views. So it's definitely a tool that can be used for effective communication, especially when things are changing in real time. So that leads me into public-facing apps. We have several public-facing apps as well as ideas for future ones, but a lot of them are linked through the town's website. Residents can look up what their trash and recycling collection day is. They can find where they're supposed to report for election day where their voter precinct location is. They can view their actual parcel's lead service line information and see the progress that's being made across the town when those service lines are being replaced. They can explore cemetery records, especially for Sleepy Hollow. That's a significant cultural draw, as well as there's story maps for other cultural draws as well, such as Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. So they can take a virtual tour without actually having to come, but a lot of times I think it entices people to come. And they can also learn about town initiatives. I know Megan was mentioning the Climate Action Resiliency Plan. That's one of the ones that we are hosting on our platform, as well as story maps that explain heat pumps and how to benefit from those rebates and get coaching advice. And then there's another one tracking the progress of advanced meter system installations. This is just our org chart. Right now, we have 2 vacancies, the senior GIS analyst position and the GIS analyst position, but they are scheduled to start on this coming Monday, the 20th. And then there's also currently a part-time GIS analyst who's been with the town for over 20 years, and she's set to retire at the end of this month. So hopefully there will be a little overlap and transition of institutional knowledge. And then this slide is verbose, but to boil that down, we've made a lot of progress in expanding our services and technology. We've modernized some of our platforms. We've expanded our mobile inspection workflows and made a lot of progress in data quality assurance and through automation processes. We've transitioned the town from one software platform called ArcGIS Map, or ArcMap, sorry, and the new one is called ArcGIS Pro, and we've provided trainings as well as documenting tips and tricks on that. And we also present typically annually at a regional GIS conference called the Northeast Arc Users Work Conference. For 2027, we are hoping to continue to modernize the GIS platform, transition legacy content into modern platforms. We've begun to redesign the GIS webpage on the town website, but that will hopefully be implemented in a public-facing way. Right now, it's just kind of a beta right now, and that would allow for more public access to information. It would hopefully reduce some inquiries from internal staff. They could just be pointed directly to the applications that serve them, and then just creating efficiency and consistency across departments. So the GIS team helps departments work more efficiently. They support better decision-making, improve communication with residents, and provide geographic foundation that many town services rely on every day.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you. It's great that your work is more visible to us, but I make use of it, and I appreciate that that it's there. So thank you. Any questions for Heather? No. Okay. Thank you. Minuteman. Now, Minuteman is an enterprise fund, whereas everything else we've heard is general fund. Is that right? Okay. That's correct. Thanks.
Hello. My name is Julie Manugian. I am the media manager for Minuteman Media. Yes, we are a revolving fund, I believe, is what I've been told. A revolving fund.
Receipts reserved for appropriation.
Okay. What you
should know that.
Yeah. But yes, we're an enterprise. So I will be fast. So core responsibilities of what we do, we serve Concord and Carlisle, and we are fully funded by Comcast and the town of Carlisle. We film in-person and hybrid municipal meetings, including this one here tonight. You can see our 3 cameras on the walls, our new equipment. Everything here is new. We just upgraded all of our equipment. There's a small control room in the hearing room where Arkady is right now, and he is recording this meeting, and it will be on YouTube tomorrow for everybody to view. But in Concord and Carlisle, we film both town meetings, select board meetings, joint school committee meetings, and community events, and we record podcasts. So we really are a regional Community Media Center. Under the category of community events, we film a lot of things at the library, the Concord Museum, League of Women Voters. We do Concord Carlisle High School graduation and, of course, Patriots Day. As you know, in the town of Concord, we have about 70 committees. Those will film on Zoom, and then they send it to us, and we trim them, and then we put them onto YouTube. So that is a big chunk of our work. We're not there filming it in person, but we're certainly getting it and sharing it and being transparent and feeding it to the community. Everything is posted onto YouTube. We also live stream to YouTube. Our podcast is really growing. We have a podcast studio and a TV studio, and we are located in the high school. All of our podcasts are posted to Spotify and Apple. With the high school, we train students. We are on their curriculum twice a week. Students come into the studio, and we train those that are interested on how to operate camera equipment, how to edit, and how to do podcasts. We do produce some original programming with local students and residents, and as you probably know, we have 3 television channels: public, education, and government. So on the government channel, it's 24 hours of government programming. On the education channel is where we'll put our lecture series, events at the library, and school events. And then on the public channel is where you would find community events like Patriots Day, cooking show that's produced by a local resident, or an exercise show that's produced by somebody locally, where we support independent and original programming. So some of our accomplishments, first, here at the townhouse, this was part of our FY26 budget, and we installed all new cameras, mics, media consoles. We got the projector resurrected again. I understand this hasn't been working since before COVID, but here it is. The township is indeed our flagship location. The townhouse is indeed our flagship location. Whether it's the select board room or the hearing room, we film here about 60 times a year. And with this new equipment, you're going to see improved quality overall. This particular mic's being funny, but we'll fix it. Now we're going to be able to live stream, and we're going to be able to use both rooms at the same time. So it used to be if one committee was here, we couldn't be filming there because we had a shared audio system. Now we have one for each. Another accomplishment is streaming apps. So on your smartphone, on your TV, you can watch Minuteman Media. You can watch all of our channels. That is available on Apple iPhone, Apple TV, and everything listed here. I'm going to keep moving. Podcasts, as I said, it has grown. We've got almost 100 podcasts that we do a year. One of them is Megan Zamudo's podcast called Civic Concord, which I hope everybody listens to. Also, in the town of Carlisle, we do the Carlisle Connection with their town administrator. We also, some other shows are Concord 250, Concord for All, and then we have students that come in and do podcasts. Moving forward, projects for FY27. In the Goodwin Forum, we're working with Emily, and this is a very popular space for us. We film about 40 a year, and we are going to install video cameras into that space. There's a good audio there, but now we're going to add video because we get asked to film there so much. We will be able to live stream from there. We're going to build a media console in the back. Overall, it'll be improved audio and video quality. Next is the middle school library. We are getting ready to install equipment there. The reason is because Dr. Hunter, the superintendent, would now like to use the new middle school for her school committee meetings. And we have been asked to equip the room appropriately. It's a blank canvas right now. And we're putting in video cameras, mics, speakers, a control media console, giving them the best audio and video quality. Lastly, in our studio, we're going to modernize our studio. We're going to get new cameras, a teleprompter, because a lot of people come in and want to use our space just to film, a talking head to the camera, and we need a teleprompter. We're going to build a new control room console. We had one, but because of our podcast growth, the control room has now become a podcast studio. So now we're reusing our space to accommodate the growth in podcasts. We're going to get a new set. And overall, this will allow for more usage for students. We can have classes and more usage for residents as well. And lastly, this is the org chart. I oversee 4. That will be 3 full-timers and 1 part-timer.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Truly. And Jeff, thank you very much. That was, I don't see any hands raised. So I think we can move on to Human Services Department. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Jessica Porter, the Assistant Town Manager and Human Resources Director for the town. So I'm going to open up by just showing the org chart for the Human Services Department. As you'll see referenced at the top, and as mentioned by Town Manager LaFleur earlier, my role as the Assistant Town Manager is split 25-75 between Human Services and Human Resources, which is also under my purview. So in addition to overseeing Human Resources in that joint role, I also have Community Services, Council on Aging, Recreation, and Veteran Services under my purview as well. And then we also have a Human Services Generalist that I oversee. She works a little bit with all of the divisions and also handles all of our DEI work and initiatives as part of her role as well. So the first division under Human Services is Community Services. So Bonnie Wilbur is our Community Services Coordinator. She actually would have been here with us tonight, but she is currently on a home visit. But she handles all sorts of kind of social work needs, referrals, consultations, advocacy and support to all of our residents that are under the age of 60. We do have a core team of social workers that handles the residents over the age of 60. You'll hear about that shortly from our Council on Aging presentation. But you'll see those are all the services. It's a small but mighty division of one person. And again, she does receive some assistance from Magnolia, the Human Services Generalist as well. And core responsibilities, again, as you can see, and it's all for residents under the age of 60. Some of the accomplishments of the division in fiscal 2026, 217 residents and families received support from Bonnie. Over 3,200 outreach service interactions. 12 residents came for assistance with their applications for fuel assistance. 104 children received support through the Holiday Silent Fund. 65 families participated in the town's gift card drive. 115 children received support through the Masonic Corinthian Lodge's Angel Fund. 32 families with 74 children total participated in Beacon Santa. We gave away 26 scholarships for children to attend summer camp through the Silent Fund. 26 families, 84 individuals received fresh produce through the Food for Families program. And 57 children received new backpacks and school supplies to start the school year. And I will take this opportunity to put the plug in for this year's school supply and backpack drive, which is kicking off now. There's drop bins all over town if anybody wants to give to that worthy efforts. And just some photos of some of the work that Bonnie's done within the community. You'll see there she's receiving from the Corinthian Lodge that donation of gift cards, which made the holidays a lot brighter for many children and families in town. And then the generous supplies and backpacks we received last year as part of the supply and backpack drive. And that is her work here. The next division is our Veterans Services. Our Veterans Services agent is Richard or Dick Krug. He is limited status. He's only 18 hours per week. He works 3 days a week, but boy, does he pack in a lot of work into those 18 hours. So his primary responsibility is to administer the Chapter 115 benefits. Right now, we only have, I believe, 2 individuals in town who are receiving benefits through Chapter 115, but Dick continues to do additional work in assisting veterans who are in need of assistance but don't necessarily qualify financially to receive those Chapter 115 benefits. He works closely with Open Table Food Bank, for example, does home visits as well, and again provides that application assistance. for any services, and a lot of the work he does is almost shared with the community services coordinator that I just spoke about. They do have some mutual overlap of clients, so together they often function as a team to make sure that everybody in town gets the resources that they need and gets pointed in the right direction. Some of Dick's accomplishments for the past fiscal year is, again, assisting with any of those need-based benefits for eligible veterans, administering Chapter 115, various veterans organizations, local, state, federal, works with Concord Community Services, Council on Aging, Social Security, food pantries and markets, assisted with reviewing any legislation and regulations and medical records to help evaluate people's service and if they are qualifying for claims. Housing assistance is a big one that he focuses on, and again, those home visits to veterans that might not be able to leave the home if they need assistance with any applications. And then he also works closely with the funeral directors to ensure that veterans receive proper burials and proper notifications and maintenance with their graves once they're unfortunately on the other side. And here's a little bit of Dick in the community. That was a vehicle that apparently he moved heaven and earth to be able to get in our parade for the 250th. And then the photo on the right is just him at the dedication of the bell over here in the square from the USS Concord. So it's just some of the work he does. And now I'm going to have unless there's questions, I'll bring up Dan Pettit from the Council on Aging, but I'm happy to take any questions on my few slides.
Anyone? Okay. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Dan Pettit. I'm the director at the Council on Aging, where our mission is to make sure that every Concord resident 60 and older stays healthy, independent, connected, and engaged within the community. We also are a hub of activity during the day, but we're also a bridge to resources for Concord's older residents. Here's our organizational chart. Our board member, I work with under the direction with them. We are with our monthly meetings. We have 16 employees there. Some are part-time, and we also have 170 volunteers that assist at the Council on Aging, all being seniors. We actually did have one college student for the summer too, but she's heading back soon. Our core responsibilities here, we have our outreach department, which really helps, as Bonnie Wilbur does for the town. We have our assistant director who oversees a social outreach team, which are 2 outreach workers who work with seniors for housing insecurity, food insecurity, helping with transportation, really just referring in any sort of need that they might encounter. We have a volunteer coordinator. We also have a wellness nurse that we now share with public health that has office hours twice a week at the COA. We have blood pressure clinics where the seniors can come in and get their blood pressure taken and really speak with the nurse about any issues that they might be having. There's no really hands-on, but could be recommended to their doctor, or, depending on the severity of what's going on. Our social, recreation, and educational is a big piece of it, where we have different speakers. We are working with the rec department to offer exercise classes 3 times a week, and we're always trying to change that up. We have a really big following with our morning exercise yoga classes. Our transportation service, I would say, is our biggest need. We really are working hard to meet the demand, and we just hired another part-time van driver trying to meet that demand. That we I have some statistics here to show you, but we are really, like I said, we're really struggling to meet the demand for the town, for our older residents. And our nutrition and supportive services. We have a weekly lunch. We also have Healthy Helpings, a meal that is given out through an organization for those who may not be able to cook at home. And we also work with Minuteman Senior Services if they're looking for like a Meals on Wheel program as well. This is just some the Concord census data showing the 60 and older, which is close to 30% of the town. And then on the right-hand side, Exhibit B and C show total active participants by the calendar year. And then on the bottom is the event attendance. So that's all our events combined. And you can see it's been steadily growing, which is what we want to see. Here are some statistics that we have 7,365 years that were, rides that were provided by the COA. That was in one calendar year, and 80 rides to medical appointments with our volunteers. Our outreach saw 556 older adults, 1,040 office consult visits, and 165 home visits. Our highest need for the outreach department is affordable housing, public benefits, and mental health. More accomplishments here, some that I already read, but really showing where our greatest needs are. Another huge part of what we do is we loan out durable medical equipment to anybody 60 and older in town if they need any sort of medical device that we take in, and then they can loan and use for as long as they need. And we only provide transportation in town with our vans, but if people have appointments outside of town or into Boston, we have a group of volunteers that will assist. And 54 of those happened so far in 2026. And on the bottom there, it talks about our home visits that I already mentioned and our 441 blood pressure clinics that we do every Wednesday. Some of the efficiencies there, we're expanding the use of My Senior Center, which is our registration and reporting, and how we can track what is popular, where we're going, where we need to be going. And we're enhancing our communication through our digital newsletter and social media. Our transportation, we're really trying to streamline that to get the most use. We have on Thursdays, we have 3 different rides to Market Basket. So we're really, depending on where the seniors live in town, we're really trying to streamline that to get everybody accommodated for. We're planning, depending on our attendance trends and also feedback directly from the seniors. And we're trying to reduce the number of ride requests that cannot be accommodated each month, because we realize how important it is for Concord's older residents who may not be driving, that transportation really equals freedom. And our volunteers that I talked about, it's 7,099 hours that they contributed, which is an equivalent to $250,000 in community value. And I also work with grants and foundations like the Concord Carlisle Foundation to provide additional funding for the COA. And these are our goals going forward. We want to expand, increase our participation, grow attendance. Really, we're excited to get the public health nurse, our wellness nurse back, and having that be another asset for our seniors, and promote healthy aging and dementia-friendly initiatives. We're working with the schools for intergenerational and volunteer opportunities, strengthening partnerships with the Rotary, with the Lions Club, with the Friends of the Aging, and we're, as I said, trying to reduce unmet ride requests, recruit. We already obtained another part-time driver, and we are going to be working on getting a new passenger van, which is our 14-seat passenger van that was allocated through town meeting last year. So our plan for the meeting for the future is to evaluate space and facility needs to meet our growing demand, continue working with grant funding, and continue advancing the age-friendly Concord initiative.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I had no idea of how much we do. So
yes.
Thank you very much.
So this is Lee Jackson from Recreation and Jenny Sicardo from BD Center.
I'll take the bad mic. Just kidding, Julie.
Fantastic.
The rec department budget is an enterprise fund.
So I will, yeah, so
As
my
well as
name's
BD,
Lee
yeah.
Jackson.
Yeah.
I am going to present the rec department. I'm going to start off, and then I'm going to hand it over to Jenny. And Jenny manages BD, which is an enterprise fund. The recreation department, everything else we do is under a revolving fund. So I'll kind of start from the top. Give me 1 second to get adjusted. Can you do this? Are you doing it? Okay. Okay, the first thing I'd like to do, again, my name's Lee Jackson. I'm the Recreation Director, and I have been in this position for just over 2 years. I'm having a great time in the community, learning a lot, obviously, and Jenny is fairly new too, so we've made some exciting changes, and we hope to continue to make improvements. I thought I'd start with just the organizational chart. I have 5 direct reports. I want to tell you a little bit about what they do. And so, if you start on the left-hand side, the Recreation Operations Manager is truly our facilities person, our facilities director. That person fixes things that need to be fixed, like Emerson Pool, water pumps, works with facilities here in the town to fix things like HVAC, situations like that. He also is split to the BD Center Enterprise Fund and fully runs the BD Swim and Fitness Center as well in their facility needs. As you may know, the revolving fund is self-supporting in operations. The revolving fund side of the business does get general fund support for their facility, meaning 4 walls, roof, HVAC is supported in the Hunt building. The rest, we are fully supporting our operational programs are fully supported in the revolving fund. So that's pretty exciting and unusual. So I thought I'd point that out. So that is our facility director. He's there on the left-hand side. Our management analyst, to the right there, we have 1 management analyst. That's really our business manager. We've just promoted someone from within. His name's Mike. He's doing a fabulous job, especially with end of year. Jennifer can concur. The next person is community engagement manager. We've hired our first community engagement manager for the town. She came on last year, and she's doing an excellent job for us. I have a full report that I'll tell you about in a second. The assistant director is David Fimiani. He's been working for the town for about 5 years. He started as a supervisor, a rec supervisor, and was promoted to assistant director, so he's been with me for a couple of years. And then the BD Center GM is Jenny, right here, that she'll be presenting some of her items, so I'll move forward. Okay, the next thing I'd love to talk to you about, we do have 19 full-time staff, if I didn't say that. The department works across several facilities. I want to mention the Hunt and Recreation Facility, obviously the BD Swim and Fitness Center. We have Carousel Preschool, if those of you know Carousel, and then school programs also inside the high school, preschool, before school, and after school programs, as well as all the sports you ever can imagine from any town. So that's what we do. Next slide is the core responsibilities. I'm just going to hit 2 of these for you. I'll share with you that our mission is what's listed there under provide. We are very excited to support and promote community through wellness and play. And we actively have conversations, philosophical, about that and how to put that into practice. We have some other facts for you there, but I think I'll point out one that's really appropriate for this group, and we do offer financial aid to support families in financial need who want to take our programs. I don't know if that's ever been shared quite publicly. I do want to share that tonight and let you know that we do that, and we have a line item for it, and we have a healthy applicant pool every year, and we use the HUD guidelines to determine if they fall into a poverty situation, and if so, we provide support. Did you know that? Next slide is me. Sorry, I keep forgetting it's me. Okay. So I do want to talk to you about our accomplishments from FY26 and FY27, but first I want to tell you how we do this at Recreation, which encompasses, of course, revolving and enterprise. For FY26 goals, I put together a committee of staff. As I said, we have 19 full-time staff. We have hundreds of part-time staff. So we put together a group of full-time staff to help us determine what our goals were for FY26. They also track the goal progress, and all of our goals align with the town goals.
I have a complete list of our goals and a lot more detail than what you see on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. I did just want to keep them simple and straightforward. So let me run through the first goal. Recreation created a financial sustainability model. That is important for this group to know. We have hired through RFP a company called Barry Dunn that many of you may know to develop a financial sustainability model for our revolving fund and for our enterprise fund. It's an exciting project and much needed here. And when I came here and found out we were, of course, managing two big funds, we needed to do this. We really need to do this. And so we are a 6-month project. We are about done. I think we'll be completed by the end of August. Very exciting findings so far. Also, goal 2, recreation develops recruitment and retention goals. This is really important for us because we are having a very hard problem hiring lifeguards and teachers. As you saw, we offer a preschool program at Carousel, and we also are before school and after school. We are having an issue with hiring teachers. We have been for years, ever since COVID. It's been a problem across the state. So we want to work on that. We want to work on our recruitment processes, and certainly lifeguards, which Jenny may or may not talk about, but lifeguards have been very difficult to find ever since COVID as well. So our last goal, goal 3, is to reinvest in the Carousel program. The Carousel program actually makes up a large portion of our revenue every year, a significant portion, probably around 44% of our revenue for the department. That's huge. We are reinvesting in that program. So offices, supplies, desks, everything we need to freshen up. So I have a full list about all these details, and I am going to pass it to Ryan. There's plenty to share if you want to look at it later. For FY27, of course, we're syncing with the town strategic goals too, the select board goals, and we are going to implement what we find out right now in the financial sustainability model, meaning I expect fee changes across revolving and enterprise so that we can shore up our sustainability efforts to make sure that we manage this within our budget and don't ever need to reach out to the general fund or ask for help. So that's our effort there. And of course, we're going to implement our retention and recreation recruitment goals, and then we're going to reinvest in quality programming. I am going to leave that up to the staff. As you know, I have a staff committee working on that right now for 27. Okay, I think this is one of the key slides that you all probably wanted to see. We developed KPIs a couple years ago. I'm going to present a slightly different KPI than what Jenny's going to be presenting on enterprise side, just as a note. So the first thing I'll say is if you look at the left, our KPIs for the revolving fund, we started with total user days. We worked over time and changed it to user seats because it made more sense for the program. I won't go into that, but you can ask me any questions after. We track how many seats we have available in every program. And so then we work to fill those seats. And so as you can imagine, we have hundreds of programs offered in the recreation department over the year, and so that is that figure. So we had 9,702 seats available. Our goal was to get 81% fill rate, and with that, we actually filled 9,253 seats if you move to the FY26 actuals, and so 95% of the seats were full. So that's what we're looking at for KPIs there. And then, of course, we do community events. You probably heard a couple of folks mention that we work with them. Megan, we work with, Dan works with us too, but we do large community events, and we will continue to free for the community. We estimated 9,000 this year, so we met our goal for attendees to our community events. And then the social media engagement, I'm pretty excited about. If you like marketing, I am going to leave a full marketing report also with Ryan. If you're interested, I have a full report of all the analytics and data. But I'll tell you that this is the first year that we've really tracked that all across getting the full year in. And so we hoped to have 43,600 engagements through social media, and we actually have 88,556,000 engagements. We have quite a large Facebook following group, which is fun. Our Facebook actuals are 85,406 people, so it's quite large. We have an Instagram account that's highly active too, over 12,000. And our social media engagement, that means how many people play with us, is about 4,000 interactions. And so obviously we have goals every year. Maggie Ledoux, who is the marketing manager for our department, nailed it, and she really far exceeded our goals for 26. Again, I have a full report. I'll move on. Okay, and I think this is my last slide. These are our efficiencies on the Hunt Recreation revolving side. For marketing, we've implemented, like I just said, our first ever marketing plan. We have inclusive of marketing partners. This is the first year we've ever done that as well. And Dan Petit and Emily and a lot of folks around here are our partners. And we work collectively to get the community active, having fun, and being healthy. So we've collected a lot of data on our website traffic, et cetera, as you can see there. We also develop new processes and procedures. We really are looking for efficiencies, and as Jenny knows, she's helping me a lot here. We always have room for improvement from my perspective, so we created a new transparent process for paying invoices across the department. As I just explained, we have several different facilities, and people sit in different facilities. As you can imagine, it makes it tough to manage all these processes. So we worked on that, and that's great. We also implemented a streamlined process for hiring camp counselors. We do hire about 50 a year, and Jessica's department has to help us with that. And as you can imagine, that's tricky. It happens very quickly, all at once, in a month or so, a month and a half. And so we do coordinate well, but we streamline that process a bit too. We've implemented full-time staff participation in our goals, as I listed as well. So lastly, the staffing and cross-training. Our staff are cross-trained to help fill in for each other. I think that's big in a small town. It's really important to do that. We have front desk staff at BD, for instance, who answer phones and do the swiping in and checking in and all that, and we have cross-trained them to also be able to go over to Hunt Recreation and work the front desk and vice versa. So it's a nice benefit, and it helps us really efficiently run our operation. So we've also added a new full-time position in 27. We are hiring an assistant director of the Carousel preschool program for the first time. So I think it goes to Jenny next.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you want to? You can slide here if you want. Okay.
Okay, hopefully that's good. Jenny Sicardo, BD Center General Manager. I've been with the BD now just over 2.5 years. Started as a member myself, so I feel like I had a really good experience to get me started before I moved into that role. So I'm going to move right on to my organizational chart. So at BD, we have 7 full-time staff. As Lee mentioned, we do have 1 shared facility operations manager, which is essential to the BD operation. And then working under my supervision, I do directly supervise 12 group and water fitness instructors. We have 20 water fitness classes a week and 12 land classes. And then I do have an aquatics manager. He is a full-time employee, and working with him, he has an aquatic supervisor and an aquatic safety supervisor. And then we have all of our swim instructors and lifeguards that report under both of them. And then I have a membership coordinator, and she supervises our member support staff that work at our front desk. And then we do have 1 full-time member support specialist, and she focuses specifically on customer service. She writes our monthly newsletter. She works on cancellations, upgrades, and then she does take attendance for all of our off-site fitness classes, because we do hold classes over at Hunt Recreation, and then at 55 Church Street on the 3rd floor, we do have a fitness studio. So our core responsibilities, we do provide the community health and wellness opportunities. If you've not been into BD, I do encourage you all to take a visit. It's a great facility that not only offers swimming, but we do have 2 fitness rooms, both a cardio and strength room. We operate and maintain a high-quality facility. That's something we work on every single day. It's a 20-year-old facility, and with that, we need to keep up with it every day because we do have a high volume of traffic. We deliver adult and youth sports, land and aquatic fitness, camps, school programs, and special events. And we ensure access and exclusivity to everyone. We do have all walks of life that come into the BD. You could be, 1 month old to 95 years old. There's a place for everybody there. And we need to remain and do remain financially self-sustaining because we are an enterprise fund. These are just some of our data points. I won't take too much time here. Our membership stats do show the different membership categories that we have. We do sell a 10 times pass. We have a fitness punch pass, and you can either buy a 4-pack, a 6-pack, or a 12-pack of fitness punch passes. We offer a 14 to 18-year-old high school student membership, a 65 adult membership, a 65 couple membership, an 80-plus adult membership, an adult membership, couple membership, an employee membership, and family memberships. And I will note that we have seen an increase this year in our employee membership. We have 112 employee memberships, which has been a nice increase for us. So some of our efficiencies, we did grow 5.3% in reoccurring memberships this year from 760 to 800, creating more stable revenue for the BD Center. We had a 21% increase in our day pass and guest pass revenue, so we jumped from just 109,000 to 133,000. And we do have 3 types of day passes. It's for an individual, a couple, or a family, which is up to 5 people. We've had growth in our fitness participation and our fitness punch pass sales. The fitness punch pass allows you not to have to commit to one class, but you can hop around to different water classes or land classes and not have to sign up for an entire session. And we have expanded our rentals and partnerships to maximize the facility utilization. Cost savings, we installed a UV water treatment system in our lap pool this past year, which has definitely helped in reducing the backwashing and saving on our water bill. We secured a $70,000 grant to install the same UV system in our warm water pool in FY27. And we leverage grants and donations to fund capital project improvements instead of having to dip into our operating revenue. So some of our operational efficiencies, preventative maintenance and long-term capital planning. We are finding that we really need to get ahead of some of our capital improvements and have really worked hard to just get on top of things so that we're not constantly putting Band-Aids on problems. Scheduled major projects during the annual shutdown to minimize disruption to our members. It can be really hard to get projects done when you're open 100 hours a week. So having a week to be able to get closed, to get into those locker rooms and to do work is really important because there's a lot of things that go on in there. Improved payroll and staffing processes through weekly payroll submission and cross-trained staff. We do have some of our personal trainers that are also lifeguards, so when we find ourselves in a bind, we can really move staff around the building to support the day-to-day operational needs. And adjusted programming based on participation and cost recovery to maximize staff and facility utilization. Additional accomplishments, I know I touched on some of these. We installed the UV system. We did get a very generous donation from Friends of Swim and Dive for over $90,000. So we have state-of-the-art diving blocks in our facility that both our swim team can utilize, our rentals can utilize, and the Concord Carlisle High School utilizes. We are currently working on the replacement of our roof. We did get off to a little bit of a slow start, but I can confirm that we're underway now and hope to get that project probably done in September. We're going to provide support and collaboration, and we've started on this project on the Maisie O'Donnell Dry Dive project. That is underway, and we're just going to continue on our capital improvements because the list goes on and on.
Great, thank you very much. Sure. I think that last year we didn't hear from Recreation during the Enterprise Fund presentations because perhaps the year before we had requested to pare back. Having heard this presentation tonight, I think it was very helpful to us. During our Enterprise Fund presentations later during the budget season, if you could focus on that fiscal sustainability program that you've launched and the sort of, and within BD you have that retained earnings and capital fund, and we know 20-year-old building needs coming up. Looking at those pieces of the puzzle would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a question here. Peggy.
I'm really sorry
Sorry,
to ask
Peggy.
a question. I
Yeah.
understand the time constraints here. And this, again, Don, maybe the answers can be approached during the,
Sure.
not right now.
Okay.
But I became confused where you have a facilities manager, a business manager, and you have a payroll. Why aren't those included in the town? Maybe because it's you can put it in the revolving fund, or you can put it in the enterprise fund, but it sounds to me like duplication. We have an HR department, we have a townwide facilities manager, we have a business department. Why do you have your own business manager, facilities manager, and all this sort of thing? Also, the financial need, you mentioned you're using the HUD guidelines a while back, maybe it's out of date, but the assessors department worked really hard to set up a kind of a town-wide criteria for receiving reduction in taxes and whatnot. And so they should have, we're trying to do a coordinated need criteria for all needy people, put it that way.
Okay.
So, maybe you can coordinate with the assessors or whoever's doing that. But I'm just confused. It feels like there's duplication.
Okay. Would you like me to approach that and answer that now a little bit for you?
No, I think when you come back,
we come back? Okay.
Yeah, in the fall.
Will do.
But thank you very much.
Will do. Thank you.
And perhaps some of the questions will be answered by the CFO and town manager. So thanks, Peggy. That was very helpful.
Thanks, everyone.
Questions. Anyone online have questions? I should have asked Eric and Sri. No? And Paul. Paul, okay, you're there too. Paul's back. Okay, great. Next, HR.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Erin McMorrow. I'm the Assistant HR Director for the town.
Okay.
Tonight I'll be presenting to you some information on the Human Resources Department. So first, we will start with our organizational chart. So as mentioned a few times in this presentation tonight, our Assistant Town Manager / HR Director is shared between Human Services and the HR Department. And then supported by that is myself as the Assistant HR Director and a Human Resources Generalist, an Employee Development and Engagement Specialist, and a Benefits Manager as well. Human Resources supports approximately 700 employees across all department categories year-round. And during peak seasonal hiring, particularly in the summer, our workforce grows to approximately 800 to 850 employees. Our responsibilities cover a wide range of HR functions. We provide HR services throughout the employee life cycle, including recruitment and hiring, employee benefits, compensation, leave administration, including workers' comp and IOD, injured on duty programs, training and professional development, and employee recognition. So Melissa Samard is our benefits manager. Nicole Gately is our HR generalist, and we currently have a vacancy for the development and engagement specialist that we are working on. In addition to these core responsibilities on this page, we also provide guidance to managers and employees on personnel policies, collective bargaining agreements, and other employment-related issues that may arise throughout the year. Our goal is to provide consistent, high-quality service to employees and departments while attracting, developing, and retaining a talented workforce. Since January of 2024, our department has completed a number of major initiatives. In collaboration with the finance department, we have successfully implemented Munis, which modernized many of our HR and payroll processes. We also transitioned all active employees and retirees to new health insurance plans, along with new dental, vision, life, and disability providers that provided improved benefits for a lower cost. We also have completely redesigned our recruitment process, negotiated 6 collective bargaining agreements, implemented a new incentive pay plan for non-union employees, and launched 2 monthly employee newsletters to improve communication and employee engagement. We've also expanded the employee recognition efforts through monthly engagement activities and relaunched our Going the Extra Mile, or GEM program. We also began digitizing employee personnel files to modernize our record keeping. This slide provides a snapshot of our workload. In fiscal year 2025, HR posted 97 job openings and processed close to 4,000 employment applications. That includes recruitment for both regular full-time positions and seasonal employees. In FY26, HR posted 119 job openings and processed more than 3,000 employment applications, which also includes regular full-time and seasonal positions. With the incentive pay program, 178 employees submitted a total, I jumped to fiscal year 26, sorry. 178 employees total submitted 356 SMART goals that aligned with the town's strategic priorities.
Okay.
Over the past 2 years, we focused heavily on improving efficiency. Through attrition, we reorganized the HR department to better meet the town's future organizational needs by repurposing an existing FTE to create an employee development and engagement specialist position, focusing on strengthening employee development, engagement, and retention. A benefits manager position was also established to centralize benefit administration, streamline processes, and provide employees and retirees with a dedicated benefits resource. With the implementation of Munis has also allowed us to transition many of our paper-based processes to electronic workflows. Employee leave balances, personnel records, and a variety of HR forms are now managed digitally, so it's helped to improve our efficiency and overall access to information. We've also centralized recruitment and hiring within HR, as mentioned before, which helps a more consistent hiring process across departments. And it's also reduced software costs because of the elimination of a duplicate system. The development of the new recruitment branding materials has also enhanced our employer brand. Collectively, these improvements have reduced administrative work, increased consistency across HR processes, and allowed our team to spend more time supporting employees, departments, and the town's strategic priorities. And on this slide here, we included some pictures of our employee events. This continues to be an important focus for the Human Resources team. And throughout the last fiscal year, we've organized a number of employee appreciation and engagement events that recognize our employees and help build connections across departments. These events, along with our communication efforts and recognition programs, are contributing to a positive workplace culture and a more engaged workforce overall. We're proud of the progress that we've made in the HR department, and we look forward to continuing our services while supporting employees and the town as a whole. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Questions?
Could you, can you tell me what the overhead is for employee benefits? So as a percentage of salary, what's the burden rate?
I would defer to Jess, probably.
I don't have that percent figure, but I can tell you that we have 167 active town employee plans. We also oversee 200 active school plans, so anybody that's enrolled in benefits at Concord Public Schools is technically on the town's plans. Concord Carlisle is separate, they're on their own. And then once those school folks retire, we do take on their administration as retirees, and currently we have 90 town retirees, 38 school retirees, and then we have approximately 400 Medicare supplement plans between Concord Public Schools and the town that we oversee. So that was one of the changes and efficiencies since 2024. The retiree benefits used to be managed out of the finance office, so it's kind of awkward because people would come for benefits in HR as an active employee, then when they're getting ready to retire, they go to finance, so it's kind of back and forth. So now all the benefits are under one-stop shopping, essentially, with Human Resources.
I think I could summarize that as we don't know what our burden rate is.
I figured that out.
Yeah, thanks.
Is your question like as a percentage of salary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, benefits are a fixed cost per employee by the rate that they choose. So if they could choose a family plan, they could choose a single plan. We have no authority to determine whether somebody's on which. So we budget for a family plan for any new hires. But
Excuse me,
salary could
Jim.
be,
I think you're confirming that we don't know what our burden rate is.
well, it's hard to calculate.
And I think, I think you need to use a microphone for the recording, but we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Don, if you could just send me your actual, question, what kind of information you're looking for.
Sure.
And my only question is, there really are just 4 full-time HR staff?
It's a 4.75.
4.75, yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Library.
All right. Promise I'll be quick. So,
My favorite building in town.
oh, thank you. Mine too. One of my favorite too. So our mission is that we inspire life. Oh, I'm Emily Smith, the director of libraries here in town. We have 2 locations. And our mission across our 2 locations is to inspire lifelong learning and promote personal enrichment by connecting the community members to information, ideas, culture, unique historical resources, and each other in our tradition of innovation and excellence. Many of you may know about our unique structure and our public-private partnership, but it would be important to note for those of you that don't, that we are made up of 4 distinct entities. So the town of Concord funds our portion of our books and materials budget, operations, the library staff, and our utilities for running the buildings. The Library Corporation is a private nonprofit that was established 152 years ago when William Monroe gave the gift of the library, establishing the library to the town. So the corporation owns the building and grounds of both facilities. They support the books and materials budget as well, and they own the William Monroe Special Collections, all of our art, all of our manuscripts. That is owned by the Library Corporation, and they are completely funded by community giving. Then we also have our more well-known Friends of the Library, which is the nonprofit established in the 60s that supports our books and materials, our museum passes, all of the library programs. Any program you attended has been paid for by membership dues and book sales from the Friends of the Library. No municipal funding goes into any of the programs at the library. And then we have our library committee, who's one of our governing bodies. They help with our long-range planning and our policies, along with the trustees, which are the members of the Library Corporation's governing body. So when you look at our FY27 finances, it's helpful to think of the donut on the left, which you'll see the $2.7 million budget is the municipal funding we receive from the town. The corporation has a budget of about $1.3 million, and the Friends budget is about $112,000. Not all of that goes to the library. Some of that goes into their operations for running their book sales, the Festival of Authors. So all told, keep in mind that that's about a $4.1 million total sources of income for the library. If you look at the donut on the right, you'll see that that $2.7 million is 89% personnel. About 6% is the books and materials, and then about 5% is our operations. That's like our paper goods, our supplies, the book covers, all those smaller expenses, as well as the electricity for our new electric van. So who are we? Well, basically, we have 3 FTEs in administration, myself, the assistant director, and our office coordinator. We have 7 FTEs in circulation, 1 full-time custodian, 4 staff at Fowler Branch, 2 in the Innovation and Communications, 3 FTEs at Reference, 4 FTEs in Technical Services, 2 curators, and 5 FTEs in our youth services. It rolls up into 31.38, and I count every .01. 31.38 FTEs at the library. We do have also some limited and temporary status staff that we heavily rely on for substitute coverage, our Sundays, and those services that all roll into making the library operate for, you will see, 5,190 hours that we're open per year. I want to note that 89% of our households have library cards. We cannot set a goal to have more library cards. We have reached the pinnacle of library cards in Concord, and we're very proud of that. We're a very well-read community that loves its library, and we love that community back. We check out about 187 items per hour that we're open. We are moving a lot of books. We have 1,600 programs and about 40,000 attendees of those programs. If you've ever been in on a Monday at 10:30 a.m., you'll see about 112 people in the forum dancing to music. That's our Musical Mondays with the toddlers. It's awesome. If you're ever having a bad day, come see us at 10:30 a.m. on a Monday and you can't help but smile. We check out about 565,000 items, both digital and physical. That's a new record this past year. And we answer about 40,000 research questions, everything from, questions about Louisa May Alcott to questions about current events and where can I find resources on fill in the blank. And our visits would fill Fenway Park, we like to say, 10 times. It's 357,000 visits. So our accomplishments this past year, we adopted a new strategic plan. That included community surveys, focus groups, staff and community input. We adopted a new exhibition policy for our public art jury process, which we're very excited to roll out our new art jury this coming fall. That helps us populate the Monroe Gallery. We also codified our gallery policy over at Fowler for the more community exhibitions there that are so magical. We have a new volunteer policy and Corey policy for our volunteers, which has been a long time coming to make sure that everyone that is in the building volunteering with us or down in our book sorting area has been cleared and is safe to be there. We have undergone extensive emergency preparedness, both partnering with our police and fire colleagues and also documenting a safety and security guidelines document. I've created more videos than I think the staff will ever want to watch on how to be safe and secure at the library, along with an intranet where they can do self-guided quizzes in order to sort of digest a 70-page document on how to lock down, lock out, evacuate, where do we muster. We've got the whole shebang in there. And then we had significant acquisitions, I would be remiss if I didn't mention them, including the Tim Mather and Kent Bicknell Alcott family collections, as well as the first ever female sculpture in Concord is at the library, the first one outdoors. So come see our Margaret Fuller sculpture. She is stunning, and we can't say enough about her. Our FY27 goals are to adopt an action plan for FY27. Our library committee will approve that. That's the actual, how will we start implementing our strategic plan. We plan to upgrade the library's website, which is 10 years old and will need improvements to be compliant with ADA. We need a new content management system for our special collections holdings. We have visitors, as Beth said, from all over the world that come specifically to Concord for the library to access our resources, and we want to make sure that they know about these resources digitally so that they will come and physically hold the items and often weep. We have so much fun in special collections. People get really emotional about holding Louisa May Alcott's written words. We're developing a new communications plan, both internal and external, programming guidelines to sort of unify our programming approach across our staff, and then improving our onboarding and training guidelines. This has come up that our staff are seeking a more formalized process, so that's something we really need to work on. Then, of course, you all are aware of our CPA grants for the new storm windows. We're excited will go up soon. We're working on upgraded rotunda lighting, which is privately funded, and we're improving some storage at the main library. I mean, snow blowing around trash cans, it may not sound super exciting, but it's essential to the library functioning and being neat and tidy. So how does the community save money by using our library? And I have to say, we are bringing back the baby animal petting zoo, the third picture in the middle. So make sure you check that out, because seeing baby bunny burritos at the library is just the most joyful thing ever. Baby chickens, baby kitties. So we save about $7.4 million by the community using our resources. This is used an American Library Association value calculator that Chelmsford Library actually came up with. When you add in both the material use and our additional services, it comes to about $8 million. So we're funded by $4 million annually. 2.7 of that comes from taxes. We give back $8 million of worth to the community. And we save money by, as Megan mentioned, using the triple bottom line for sustainability with everything that we do, thinking about, is it environmentally sound, socially equitable, and economically feasible? So in 4 tiny bullets, we reduced our toner usage by 50% by repurposing coloring books that were being donated to the Friends of the Library. We chop off the spines, we give those out to the kids instead of printing coloring pages on demand, is one of the many ways we reduced our toner use. We fix it, don't trash it by hosting repair cafes. Our next one is this Saturday. We help community members repair clocks, lamps, anything that they might need help knowing how to fix instead of throwing it out. We also loan those kinds of items to the Library of Things, so borrow it, don't buy it. If you're curious about a telescope or a 360 camera, borrow ours. And we go for reusables, not disposables. So we have a brand new dishwasher at Fowler, and you can see in the picture here, one of our most popular cookbook club is one of our most popular book clubs, and they now use all reusable dishware, silverware, and we have a way to wash it and sanitize it safely. So, it's a little silly. If you don't have a library card, if you're one of the 11%, sign up today. Sign up for our newsletter. My director's report is once a month with lots of stats. If you like seeing our comparison from last year of our program usage or our door counts. And then, of course, we're on social media, and we love to have lots of amazing pictures of how the community enjoys their library. Any questions? Tried to make that as fast as possible.
Peggy.
I thought that
Thank you.
You had one number in there that was pretty astounding, how much money you saved the town.
Yes. Yeah, this one here. So by borrowing books through the library instead of purchasing them. No, not that one.
The question is, how much, is there any way to track how much of that would apply to Concord Academy?
We don't, because of Mass General Law and protecting privacy, we don't actually track who takes out which books. I have been asked this in the past. We can give...
No surprise.
Yeah, so we cannot, there's no way for us to know, of our users, what percentage was from where. We can give general census numbers based on the categories for the census, but that's more like age groupings and location of where the residents are.
Okay, well, could let it go.
Anyone else? Questions? No? Paul, Sri?
Very quick question. The purchases that were made, were they funded by the corporation? Who funded the purchases?
Which purchases? Our books? Or?
No, there was a mention of significant acquisitions.
Oh, those. So that was the, a small portion of that was purchased by the corporation, which then led to a very generous donation by Tim Mather. It was an astounding donation that we will be forever grateful for. So our curators network heavily within the transcendental community and the Alcott and scholars, and have built relationships that have led to opportunities that, instead of it going to Harvard, have come to Concord to be more available to the public, which we are so proud to help enable.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very impressive presentation. Okay, it is 4 minutes to 9 o'clock, and I have an idea to save us a little bit of time on our agenda. The next agenda item is the information request letter drafts. And Paul and Brian, if you agree, and if you don't object, I would say, first off, if you have any questions for the committee, by all means. But if you don't, what I'd like to suggest is that we circulate your draft letters to the committee members and then ask everyone to reply by email just to me, so that we don't have we don't have a meeting offline. And then we'll consolidate that. And at our next meeting, I think we can still be on track to finalize the letter, but without giving it
They were in the packet.
No, those were last year's. Yeah, we didn't have drafts yet for this year. Does that sound good, Paul?
Actually, with one small adjustment,
sure.
I think that let's use those drafts from last year instead of having to distribute new drafts to allow people to comment on what any additional information they would need, and then we can coordinate sharing that so that we can create the right draft, because we have a couple small changes that we're that we're already looking for, but most of the information is nearly the same, and we can avoid having to like one more bit of an email.
Okay, so I have received a couple of changes which I've forwarded on.
Yeah, we have them.
Yeah, we got this.
Niranjana, you?
So when I look at last year's drafts, there's certain categories in the input column, right? Are those some of those look customized for last year?
Yes.
For example, closing of the shelter, if you will, for school committee, right? So my question is, how are we thinking about those categories for this year? What are the ones that are changing, and do we need new ones?
Yeah, Paul and Brian, I would ask you to go ahead and produce a draft for this coming year, and then submit it. I think we should stick to that practice. Thanks.
Okay, sounds great.
Do you want to track changes to show like removing
No.
those? Okay.
No, I think
we'll
you
remove
can.
as reasonable for, for that.
Yeah, use your discretion.
And
Sure.
we've received a number new requests from John, from Rita. I had a few requests. I think Eric had a few that he wanted to submit. So do we want to say submit by X date, and then we'll produce a draft?
I would say incorporate what you've received.
Yep.
Strike what it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense and send it out.
Okay.
And then everyone can comment.
On what additionally they would like.
Right, or say, I disagree with that question, which is fine as well. We
Okay.
can have,
And we comment by forwarding the email directly to you, not to them.
correct.
Okay.
We don't want to have
I understand.
dialogue. Yep. Okay. All right.
And just to take a step back, for a lot of the new members, this is the information that we're asking so that we can have a good idea of how to interpret and how we apply the guidelines to some of the information that's done, whether it's metrics that we're using to measure certain things, or kind of put that mindset as you're looking at these of what information you would like to have in order to have a better idea of how to look at someone's budget request.
Right. Thank you. So if that's clear, then we'll move on to the next agenda item, number 5, minutes. We are looking for a motion to approve Finance Committee minutes for June 4th and June 17th.
And I'd like to combine it to one vote.
Does anyone oppose that?
I make said motion to combine all the minutes and approve them into one.
What did that say?
So Paul moves to combine the vote into one vote for minutes for June 17th and June 4th. Together. As distributed in the packet. Any discussion? Are there any comments to the minutes? No. Okay.
I'll do the vote. Peggy?
Pat, your microphone.
You need your microphone.
Pat, you have to speak into your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brian? Thank you. And Eric?
Yes.
Thank you. John?
Yes.
Pat, yes. Gerard?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Don Kupka?
Yay.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Naranjana?
Yes.
And Don Parker?
Yes.
Thank you. Rita?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Thank you. And Shri?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Next agenda item is liaison reports. I want to thank thank you for, first, these are extremely well done, very thorough reports, and thank you, Niranjana, for compiling them and giving them to Ryan to include in the packet. I want to make sure everybody has a chance to look at those reports, because I think it's very good intel for us. Is there anything that anyone would like to add to it?
No, you go ahead.
I'm sorry, there are liaison reports in the packet?
Yes.
An updated packet that Ryan sent out. I got him the reports after he sent out the initial packet, so he sent out an updated packet.
Oh.
So we're figuring out the coordination. I know next time to ask for him ahead of time.
Okay.
Page 136 in the currently posted packet.
Yeah.
I am working from the old packet.
Yeah, understood.
Thought maybe I'd lost my mind. Still possible. Pardon me?
You need to leave it till the last
This is the
You're talking
This
about
is
an
the
entire life change here.
the challenge is that meetings happened yesterday that we have to report on. I can report that the select board has deferred their goals setting until their next meeting, July 20th. We were tonight going to do goals coordination with them, but we've postponed that for obvious reasons.
Yes, and I didn't get a chance before the deadline to watch the meeting for the Economic Vitality Committee, so can I give just a brief update?
Of course.
Okay, so, and this was mentioned tonight, but the thing about the creative economy, so they did a presentation where 1 in 4 Concord residents are in the creative economy versus 3% for the average Massachusetts town, so I thought that was kind of an interesting statistic. So the Economic Vitality Committee is aiming to start to convene those folks in the creative economy, get them together, talk about issues that they're noticing, that they maybe things in town that they want to change that could maybe result in warrant articles around, permitting, and we saw that parking example. But they also want to get them to share resources, to start to talk about ways to bring more creators to the area, maybe get things, if we can bring those creatives together, maybe connecting them and being the facilitator can let them come up with ideas around events. And they mentioned in Gloucester that they now have this very vibrant art scene on Friday nights with music and things that came about because of something like this, where they started convening creators together. So that could bring more of that kind of economy to economic stuff to the town. Also, they talked about MCI development. So far, Economic Vitality Committee has not been much involved with MCI, and so they're going to start becoming more involved. So they're going to bring some ideas to the table about next week of the issues that they want to that they think are important to have addressed in the MCI redevelopment, with their focus being on how do we kind of think about the stakeholders in West Concord currently and how they're going to be impacted and the things they need to be thinking about. So I was kind of surprised that they haven't done too much yet, but they just have been waiting for the right timing. I think it's been on their mind. And then they did talk about the sewer improvement fee going up 50% and how that they're going to be sending a letter to Public Works about how that, it has a big impact on small businesses. And that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to I was not able to, there was actually a meeting of the MCI Concord Master Plan Committee on July 9th, which was and I was in transit from Western Mass at the time, so I was unable to view it. Okay, but they had a very interesting report from Tom Leeton, who is the Stantec's economic development specialist. He laid out a very detailed model of estimated impacts on property valuations, basically how all the numbers go together. Now, some of these numbers were immediately challenged by members of the committee, so I think this is work in progress, but it was highly interesting watching, if anybody's interested.
Thank you. And thank you for your report on the, that you did submit on the, which committee was that? Wasn't it MCI as well?
MCI Concord.
Yeah, thank you. The Personnel Board report that Rita prepared is must read for anyone. I thought there'd be questions about tonight for the HR director from reading that. And I would say that the Paul's Public Works Commission report also speaks directly to issues in these enterprise funds. And I will say, Paul, I received a comment from a member of the public, and then when I confirmed with them, they asked not to include it in the packet, but it directly speaks to the enterprise fund costs going up so dramatically. And tonight we learned it's a $122 million budget in total, which makes a lot more sense to me than the $34 million that we always talk about. With that, and
Don, Paul has.
Paul, yes, please.
Yeah, I don't think we need to discuss the solution to this, but I do want to highlight in my write-up, something came up that is directly responsible for what we were suggesting on enterprise funds having a certain amount of working capital available.
Yeah.
with the rates for trash and recycling went up 10%, 9% due to the fact that they're going to purchase a new, like a capital project, a new electric truck that takes money out of the working capital that they needed to now increase their rate significantly to recover. But there's no real functional way for them to do that from an accounting perspective with the guidance that we're given. So it's like I would say like a negative effect of our statement of you need to have this amount of budget like available as working capital. So we don't necessarily, like I would suggest that everyone take a read of that and we can talk about it later of whether that is intentional on our side of like, do we need to have that strict guidance or something like that has a definite cash flow, there's positive cash flow for the trash and as opposed to some of the others. So I just wanted to highlight that and the thought of it.
Thank you.
Can I add
Niranjana?
one thing? So this is not something that was discussed at a school committee meeting yet, and there isn't one for a while, not till the end of August. But one thing that's likely to be worthy of discussion this year is that the Concord Teachers Association is renegotiating their collective bargaining agreement this year. And I looked up the CBA for the Concord Carlisle Teachers Association, that is also 2027.
Wow.
So I would say that given where we are with inflation and cost of living adjustments, that's probably a pretty significant something that's going to show up on the guidelines. So something for us to watch for as we go forward. And I think when the school committee comes back in August, there's likely to be pretty robust discussion about this.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is perhaps for those of us who get these emails, the middle school principal left his role took a role in Ashland in administration last week. And they have an interim principal who's one of the assistant principals, not the longest tenured one, but the other one. And we're not clear about when the search will initiate for another person in the role and what implications that has with all the current discussions. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anything else? No. Oh, yes, Gerard.
Right. In terms of the land use work, I didn't get my report in since they had their meeting 2:30 this afternoon. They are mainly working on their final report for the select board. They are on version 6 plus, but they are getting there. It's going to be a very comprehensive report.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And with that, I think we will adjourn.